Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now.
Oh shit, there's a new version of the chat thing I gotta do quickly. Give me just a second.
Beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt we've been thinking for ourselves. Never
Damn it.
let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away. Burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
I'm fixing everything here. Give me just a second. Let's see now. Okay, that's working. I apologize. Every time it seemed like for like a week, man, every time I came on, it did this. Now it's doing it again.
Let them burn, let them
That means I got to refresh the Rumble one too.
to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping now. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt we've been thinking for ourselves. Never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away. Burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes.
Let me see if I can get the Rumble one to work again.
Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
All right, timer's running out. We'll figure it out later if we have to.
Feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
Are we ready?
Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame,
I think I am. Let's go.
It's Kim Cuckold here. Listen up. I know I promised my family that I wasn't going to disclose any more of my God dreams. But this very important message came through and I have to tell you guys what's going on. Okay, in my God dreams I was told very clearly that you must subscribe to Cold Beer Confessional. He's on YouTube and Twitch and all of the other ones. I don't know which, there's a lot of them. Subscribe and hit the bell, the notification bell, and hit the likes on it. Now listen, I don't like Cold Beer Confessional. I don't like Will Bird. I think he's an asshole. But you have to, you've got to do what God dictates in the God dreams.
What God says you got to do.
God, and so does Uncle Tessie. So subscribe to Cold Beer Confessional today. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much for the new intro. That's from Intel Lady. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Hanging out, not doing a whole lot, but chilling, getting ready to start a show. I appreciate you guys coming out. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. We're going to do a show for a little bit. It's mostly going to be on a Scott Mckay video. We've got a few other things. Actually, I already closed the Scott Mckay video. I got to open it back up. I've got a few other things I need to cover as well. Different things. People are trying to tell Phil now that he's got the wrong Will Bird and they don't want him to get sued for slander, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, we got a Scott Mckay video we're going over, where he basically tells his life story. We all know how much Scott Mckay loves to talk. It's not Scott McKay's channel though. It's someone else's channel that he's going to take over. That's pretty interesting. I heard there was a part in there where he claims that he was eating eggshells because he couldn't afford calcium. You guys know when you go down to the old calcium dealer and have to get your weekly allotment of calcium supplies for calcium. So instead, Scott Mckay was eating eggshells to supply his calcium. Anyways, that's what we're going to get. You guys give me a second. We'll switch the screen around here. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget on the 10th, we've got it'll be a really fun stream. It'll be the charity stream. It'll be a lot of fun, I think, if you guys want to come hang out. We won't specifically be talking about grifters. We'll be talking about everything else and raise some money for a good cause. They usually do pretty well. Like the place that puts them on was extremely impressed about how well we did with such a small audience. So that's what we're working on. That'll be coming up on the 10th. That's where all my spare time's been going. That and my dad's had a few doctor's appointments, but they're all done for the week. So I'm here with you guys. So thank you guys again for joining us. If you want to support the stream, the best thing that you can do is like, share, subscribe. And not just subscribe or follow on the platform that you're on, but go to coldbeer.fund. That's the website behind me here. And on the very top of it, it says Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, and Discord. Follow somewhere else. Real quick, because I didn't get to give this story time yesterday. My dad has a wound on the tip of his toe. We thought it was from a toenail abrasion, like his toenail had grown over and kind of cut the tip of his toe. It turns out it actually may be the podiatrist thinks my dad, like when he walks, naturally his toes kind of curl. They call it grip, but obviously he's not gripping anything. But that's the term in the animal kingdom is like your toes grip. So it causes calluses on the tip of his toe. Those calluses get so hard, they're not able to flex at the same rate as your natural skin. And he says he sees patients in all the time that'll have a callus on the very tip of their toe. And then behind that will be a little dark spot. And that little dark spot is usually some type of wound, and it's usually already infected or had water trapped in it and getting infected. That's one of the problems. Water goes through your skin. It gets trapped in that little hole, and that's the perfect environment for bacteria and growth. So they open it up. We've been trying. It got to where you could literally see a little bitty piece of bone, like the tip of his toe. Because think about the tip of your finger. There's not much meat between the tip of your finger and the bone. Actually, this finger on my hand, I cut it all the way to the bone, and there's basically like skin over bone. It feels incredibly strange. But we've been having a lot of trouble getting that skin to grow back. So we went to the podiatrist just for a recommendation, see what the podiatrist would say. Same one when Dad had to have his big toe removed. He's diabetic, and he has not the greatest legs or blood flow. So we were really worried they're going to recommend just to take it. They didn't. They actually didn't. So no infection. Wound looks good. The problem was the podiatrist probed around the bone, and he found good tissue behind the bone. But he said, like wound care told us, it's incredibly hard to get skin to grow over bone. So he said about 90% of the time when he sees this, he takes a little tip of bone out. It wasn't the size of, I'm trying to think what the hell the size of it was. I mean, it was a little bitty triangle of bone. It's his toe, but it would be his middle finger if it was a finger, but it's like in that position on his foot. So he said, I can take that out as long as there's good tissue behind it, and that'll jumpstart the healing. So on Monday, he flipped that little piece of bone out right there in the office with a probe, no anesthesia, not even numbing spray. Flipped it out of there, found some good tissue, packed it back with some collagen, some wound packing that basically melts and turns into collagen. And already they're seeing improvement. The depth has closed up about 2 millimeters. The height has closed up about 1 millimeter, and the width's about the same. So I was under the impression, did you guys know this in the medical field? I don't know if this is new, but your big toe? They don't call it your big toe. Ever since we've been talking about this and my dad has his toe removed, the first time I heard was they call it the great toe. Every medical professional we've been to has called his big toe that's been removed his great toe, which wigged me out. I've always called it a big toe, and I figured everybody else in the world called it a big toe. Not doctors, not toe doctors. Anyways, so they did see some improvement. We're doing the same thing. We're packing it instead of betadine now. We're packing it with ribbon with Vosh instead of betadine. And they think maybe either this next week, we have a visit every week, either this next week or the week after that one. Either this next week or the week after that one, maybe we won't even have to pack it anymore if it continues to grow the way it was. It's incredibly hard. Think about your sidewalk. If you have a sidewalk going through grass, it's incredibly hard to get that grass to grow over the sidewalk. But if you bust a piece of that sidewalk out and there's cracks with like dirt in it, or if you remove a piece and it's just dirt, then obviously the grass is going to grow in there in a couple weeks, right? It's going to just spread over. The seeds are going to plant. It's going to get sunlight and water. But it's not going to grow across. It takes a long time to grow across your sidewalk. You have to really neglect it for that to happen. So it was the same way. Now that very tip piece of bone, which basically doesn't do a whole lot, it literally, I mean, like I couldn't even show you on the camera how fucking small it would just look like I had my fingers together. It's the tiniest little bone I've ever seen. He flipped that out as long as there's good tissue behind it, and it seems like there was because it's starting to grow. So we're going to be packing the wound with Vosh, and we go back next Tuesday to check it out. We do know that he had his blood flow ultrasound as well for his legs, where they test how much blood flow you're getting back through your legs and stuff. And we do know that that's his bad foot. So it's about half as good. It gets about half the blood flow that the other foot does. So if we did have to take more extreme measures, then it would be like cardiology to put in some type of stent or something to increase the blood flow to his foot. But they're hoping that we don't have to do any of that right away. That might be something he wants to look at anyways in the future. But we shouldn't have to rush and do it to get this wound to heal. Dad, rightfully so, doesn't want to lose any more toes. So hopefully everything works out. Thank you for asking about him. I know people who just found the show are probably like, what the fuck? He spent like an hour talking about a toe. But it's my dad. My mom recently passed away, and it's my dad. I'm trying my best to take care of him. I'm the only one in the family of the kids that my two sisters have a normal daytime job. So where I work like a third shift and it's semi-flexible, I'm the one that does all this stuff. So I've been trying to get him healed back up. My mom used to take care of all of it before she passed. So yeah, hopefully we can get him healed back up. He's also super excited to go. He's been looking for a vehicle. He wants to buy another used vehicle, an SUV, instead of a little car like he's had lately. The car that I've been putting the fuel pump in. So thank you guys for joining us again. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all of those things. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, please go to coldbeer.fun to follow the other links. Our YouTube channel is incredibly close to 1,000 subscribers. We just went over 700. 7 something. Let me see.
Anonymous just gifted 5 subs.
Thank you for the gifted
Anonymous
subs.
Gifter gifted build 1 a subscription. An anonymous user gifted a tier 1 sub to build 1.
Oh, wow. Is he going to read them all?
Gifter gifted great _moon _ subscription. An anonymous
Oh, I need to fix that. I don't want it to read them all every time. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so hopefully we get that taken care of and everything goes. But go to coldbeer.fund. Subscribe to my YouTube. I think let me check. We just hit about 750. So we still need about 250 before I can monetize that channel again. Thank goodness. It used to be about 80% of my income come from YouTube. But after we lost the channel last time and I saw what a bind that put me in, we started planning for other things. But I would it doesn't run ads during the live stream. You don't have to worry about that. It runs ads on the replays. If you have YouTube Premium, you can skip them, or they're all skippable ads. I don't put non-skippable ads on my video, at least in the U.S. I can't guarantee what they do overseas because it doesn't let me decide. But yeah, if we get to 1,000 subs, it doesn't have a strike, I'll monetize that thing and recover some income back into the stream. Either way, go over to coldbeer.fund and follow YouTube especially, but Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, and Discord. We also have a new donation site, I guess, link. It's this Dono Clips. It says shit post on the stream with Dono Clips, and people have been wearing it out. Yesterday it was free. I actually forgot to turn it on free last night, I believe. I was thinking about it and then never got to it, but I usually announce when I make it free. That way, if you want to try it out before you have to, do a donation to do it, you're more than welcome. But still, even last night, we got some more. So let's play some of these. The first one is from Justin Sally, and it is actually a video clip. So let's check that out first. Here we go. Let's see. Play on stream. Let's see what we got. The whole premise of it is it's the same price as Buy Me a Coffee, but instead of leaving like a tweet that I have to read, you can personalize it by putting your own video or audio in it, which is pretty cool to me. Did you guys see it? I was waiting for something to be said, and I looked over and saw it. Look at this. Phil Godlewski. 1, 2, 3. Hate penis drive. Phoenix mole remover. Oh, hold on just a second. Let me see that here in the studio, and I'll read you exactly what it said. So it looks like an Amazon package, obviously. And it says, Phil Godlewski, 1, 2, 3, hate, H8, penis drive, pick one USA. And then it says, hate, Phoenix remover. Phoenix mole remover. Phoenix mole remover. Thank you very much, Justin. That was clever, honestly. That was pretty clever. No one's thought to have props yet. I feel like y'all are going to be outdoing each other, and they're going to become tiny little video productions and audio productions. You're already doing impressions. You've already got props and shit going on. You guys are going to end up in a war trying to outdo each other. And then where are we going to be, guys? You better be careful. You better be careful. Don't threaten me with a good time. Tiny Phoenix. All right, here's another one from Straight Runner. This is audio only. The next 1, 2, 3, 4 audio only.
Hey guys, well, I do drive a car. Bumper car.
A bumper car.
May the power protect you.
May the power protect you. I think that was Scott Waddles. Will, I do have a car. It's called a bumper car. May the power protect you. Now, Scott Rogers actually keeps me protected through the Power Angels. That was from Straight Runner. Here it is again.
Hey guys,
It sounded hairy.
I do drive a car. It's called a bumper car. May the power protect you.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much. The next one's from Miss Panene is nuts. Miss Panene is nuts. So this would be, I'm assuming, people kept saying, somebody left in my comments one time, Mark Penny. And I thought it was funny, so I started making fun of him and calling him Mark Penny instead of Mike Penny. By the way, Mike Penny has now told us that Alex Murdaugh actually killed O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, and O.J. Simpson's son is the one who killed the Murdaughs, Paul and Mags. That's Mike Penny's new theory. Alex Murdaugh is the murderer in O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, and O.J. Simpson's son is the murderer in Mags and Paul Murdaugh's. I swear, that's his new theory. So this says Miss Panene, which I used to call him Mark Panene just to piss people off. They'd be like, his name's Mike. I mean, no, it's not. You're pronouncing it wrong. It would make them so mad in chat. So here we go. Miss Panene is nuts.
This is Mike Panene's wife, Mrs. Panene. I can't with the coughing and the hacking anymore. Do you have any advice? Is it chemtrails? Is it the black cats? What do I do?
It is congestive heart failure, and there's treatments that exist for that already. It is congestive heart failure. Some people call it Darth Vader disease, but it is congestive heart failure, and I think you should seek medical treatment. Maybe start another $75,000 GoFundMe for a heart attack you didn't have. And they sent you home the next day and told you it was indigestion. You know, whatever.
This is Mike Panene's wife, Mrs. Panene. I can't with the coughing and the hacking anymore. Do you have any advice? Is it chemtrails? Is it the black cats? What do I do?
Thank you very, very much. That was for Miss Panene is nuts. It was a very good one. It was a good one. Ramesh is back. Enemy of the stream, Ramesh. With an audio clip. Ramesh.
Oh, man, this is Ramesh. Don't you cut me off, you goddamn bastard!
Oh, no.
You fucking Bengali goat fuck out!
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Sounds like Ramesh may have been in traffic driving down the road. He was trying to leave us a message, but it sounds like he was cut off by a goat salesman. I'm not sure what happened. We'll listen in one more time and you tell me. Sounds like he was trying to record a video while driving down the road, but he got cut off. He likes to record videos like Phil does, driving down the road, dancing, and very metrosexual playlist. It says Ramesh Road Rage. That's right.
Oh, man, this is Ramesh. Don't you cut me off, you goddamn bastard! Get your fucking Bengali goat fuck out!
Oh no! I hope that didn't end in an accident. Sounds like it got cut off pretty quick. So I hope that didn't end in an accident. It's hard to tell, especially with Ramesh. He's pretty wild at times. Damn it! I messed that one up. Hold on. Let's see here. Give me just a second. Oh no. I know you can't hear this. I know you can't hear this because it hadn't been reviewed by the mods yet. And it says it's from Dreamweaver, so I thought it was fine. But anybody could put Dreamweaver in there, technically, right? So I thought it was fine, but I figured I would listen to it behind the scenes. Now you're going to listen to it in all its glory. Let's see if it'll play.
Phil, top of the morning there, lassie. What in St. Mary's tits is going on between your wee nuts and your arse hole? Molly, 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 molly.
Moly, 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 indeed. Moly, 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 moly. One more time in case you missed it because I was laughing.
Phil, top of the morning there, lassie. What in St. Mary's tits is going on between your wee nuts and your arse hole? Molly, 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 molly.
What in St. Mary's tits? I'm going to start using that, I think. What in St. Mary's tits? Maybe that's what Ramesh ran into. Maybe he run into Phil's taint. And had a one car, one mole collision. Who knows? Who knows? Hard to tell. Maybe I'm sure Ramesh will tell us in the next couple of days how his fender bender turned out. So again, thank you guys for joining us. If you want to support the stream, that's one option. Is Dono Clip. You have Buy Me a Coffee. We have Patreon. Depending on the schedule tonight, I might do a Patreon show tonight. I kind of got messed up with my Monday show because I had to be up early in the morning. Blah blah blah. But it's fine. We'll figure something out. We always make those shows up, even when we miss them. So the first thing we're going to start with here is actually some Scott Mckay. Let's see what he's saying. He was on a live stream. It was, I think I still got it here. Hold on. Let me see if I still got it. Oh, nope. Let me go grab the clip again. I thought I had it saved to, here it is. Copy link. It's over on Rumble on this channel. Yeah, you're more than welcome to support the stream. You don't have to. You don't have to support the stream. The stream's free. Patreon's like extra content if for some reason you can't. Most people are tired of me by the time I'm done. But if you can't get enough, there's Patreon, or if you just want to support us, there's Patreon, and there's multiple ways to donate. We also have merch if you're interested. We don't make a whole lot of money, but it's pretty cool seeing stuff. People wear your T-shirts, have your pillow, drink coffee out of your mug. I don't know. It's a cool thing. I never thought that I would sell merch to anybody, much less. Actually, I never thought I would sell merch as being like a YouTuber. I've actually had 2 T-shirt businesses while I was on the road that actually did pretty well. One was tailored towards turbine mechanics, which is what I was. I was basically a jet engine mechanic for GE. And then the other one was tailored towards just shutdown jobs. Like, I don't know if you know what shutdowns are, but like when a factory shuts down and they do all the maintenance like in 2 weeks, a lot of people work that type of lifestyle, and I sold T-shirts. It was called Shutdown Junkies. I still got some of the old T-shirts. But when I came off the road, I quit both of those. I just wasn't in touch with people anymore. Anyways, that's a side story. So this is a channel called America Happens, kind of like shit happens, but America happens. It has 1,000 followers on Rumble, and Scott Mckay comes over to give his life story. I'm going to have to mute it for just a second. Because I got to skip ahead. No, it was already skipped ahead. Never mind. I already prepped it. So here we go. Here is the audio back, and Scott Mckay, the Patriot Street Fighter, here to introduce himself. You're gonna like it, I guess. We'll see. At least it doesn't have his intro on it.
Scott Mckay, how you doing, sir?
Fantastic, my friend, but I'll get better.
I'll turn it up some.
Good, man. Good. It's really nice to have you on this show. I mean, we've been following you for a real long time now, and I mean, you've been deep in the whole freedom movement. So let's just dive into it. The thing that was really mind-blowing in terms of your bio.
You've been really deep on the freedom movement, so let's just dive into it. The thing that was really deep about your bio. I love this guy's voice already.
Accent that you had, how you recovered, how spirituality, Christianity helped you recover, and your knowledge in quantum physics. I mean, please tell us a little bit about what happened there.
Yeah, I had this catastrophic motorcycle crash back in 2014. I know some of you get tired of hearing the story. I get tired of telling it, but it's an important story from my purpose and my mission in life. Knowingly what I was going to do and why this happened to me. So, being a high performance athlete all of my adult life.
A high performance athlete all of his adult life. Of course, a high performance athlete all of his adult life. He had to outperform even.
One day, after this catastrophic incident, or 11 days afterwards, now I'm pulled out of this coma. Mm-hmm. And and I'm left in this wrecked hall. Like it's a nightmare of epic proportions when you come out of something like that, because your brain is in a state of what's called ICU psychosis. It's trying to rectify where you are, what happened to the point in time when you had this catastrophic incident, and then 11 days of, not being fully conscious and waking up in a place like, trying to figure out who you are, where you are. So this all happened on a road in Montville, New Jersey called Passaic Valley Road, where I laid a Harley Davidson into the side of a van at 50 miles an hour, trying to save my ass from what was a death sentence. Because once it was unfolding, I'm coming around a bend and I see a van straddling the road. It's like
You ever notice his stories are always the most extreme? Like, what was extremely a death sentence? I was trying to save my ass from death because I had 132 pounds of explosives in the saddlebags. So when I come around here, there was literally 14 minivans. All of them had spiked lug nuts on, and their tires were facing directly at me.
2-lane road where, like in a neighborhood, but not it's not a stop sign neighborhood road, but one of those ones that keep going until you turn into a community. And anyway, so the van's there. I hit the.
It was a stop sign neighborhood where you turn into a community. But he was on death's door. He's in a cul-de-sac. The hardcore biker is at the end of Willow Branch Lane, making a left at a stop sign.
Back brake, sort of not panic but startled, hit the back brake to slow the bike down. The ass end starts sliding to the right, and I'm in a right-hand turn. So to recover that, you got to turn the opposite way to get control of the bike, which is opposite of the turn. But it's putting me dead on to a van, which slowed down really quick and turned sideways up onto a curb. And then my bike, this Harley Davidson, as I'm coming in, I decide to throw it down on its side to slow it down, which that doesn't work. I knew I was dead, so it was like, how do I slow it down?
Oh, he knew he was dead. He was in your cul-de-sac. He was basically delivering papers. It was a bicycle. It was his first job. He was delivering papers for $0.25 a day. You just kind of had to be there.
Boom, the underside of the engine and the frame hit 50 miles an hour to zero. So it blows up through my pelvis, blows my pelvis off, my spine blows my...
It blows up. What?
Boom, the underside of the... To throw it down on its side to slow it down, which...
Yes, putting a bike on its side does slow it down. You can't avoid friction, okay? Ditching a bike does slow it down. Does it stop it? No. Is it slower than it would be rolling? Yes, absolutely. You're grinding metal on the asphalt. Of course it is. Rolling resistance is a hell of a lot less. Oh, that doesn't actually work. Yes, it does. It doesn't stop the bike. It doesn't just negate all of physics and just stop the bike dead, obviously.
Doesn't work. I knew I was dead, so it was like, how do I slow it down? And boom, the underside of the engine and the frame hit 50 miles an hour to zero. So it blows up through my pelvis.
Blows up. It blows up. So he had a self-destruct motorcycle that if the bottom of the bike hits, that's probably one of the strongest parts of the bike. That's the motor mount. You got rubber there. He's probably got a soft tail, and it's not a hard tail, so he's probably got some suspension there to absorb it front and rear. The frame runs right down through there to hold the fucking engine up, the heaviest part of the bike. Like, I don't know why your bike would explode if the bottom of the frame hit a minivan, especially on like modern vehicles. They're made to absorb crashes, right? I mean, I'm sure it left a hell of an indention. I'm sure it hurt, but explode?
Pelvis blows my pelvis off, my spine blows my, like an open book fracture, they call it, when your anterior pelvis in the front just comes apart. Mm-hmm. It's like a lady dilates, like she's going to give birth. Well, mine apparently.
Oh, he was at 10.5 centimeters when he hit the van, and all he remembers is they kept telling him to push, breathe.
Had blown open that I could have given birth to a 30-pound baby, I was told.
Wow.
So with that, I had my left femur broke into 7 pieces, spiral fractured, my left foot counter rotated opposite, an ankle sprain, a normal ankle sprain, and nearly fully severed, exposing my ankle bone, busted into the back half, flew out the back of my foot. It was in my boot.
The back half of his ankle flew out the back of his foot. The back half of his ankle flew out the back of his foot. He says he was going 50. He says he was going 50 and his bike exploded. But he also said it was a stop sign turn into a neighborhood. So you just have to find a neighborhood that the speed limit is 50, turning into it.
So lucky for me, it didn't pop out on the sidewalk. So I had vertebrae fractures and ribs and And every organ in my body was in a massive state of trauma, and probably my brain too, because even though I didn't hit my head, which had I not laid it down, it was instant death because it's just a head injury. It's over, helmet or no helmet, which I had a helmet on. But so that left me with these catastrophic, injuries, laying on the road that day, face down after this grotesque hit, and you hear things just busting apart. And I wasn't breathing, and then that's when I knew. When I wasn't breathing, your brain goes a million miles an hour. It's amazing how fast it goes. Through the whole thing, it was like slow. In a matter of seconds, it slowed down to minutes of thinking, right? Wow. So then when I had these convulsions, like arching my back, when I was laying face down on the road, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I realized, okay.
He's arching his back. He's flopping around on the road, trying to figure out what's going on. That's when he realizes the Grim Reaper's standing. The Grim Reaper's driving the minivan. He exploded out of the airbag compartment.
You're not breathing. And I see the blood coming out of your mouth. And
okay. That's when I realized, okay, you're not breathing. Oh, God.
Going on the ground, and I'm like, your brain just says, okay, here's what's going on. You're not breathing. That downward force probably severed your lungs or whatever, and that's why you're not breathing. And now you're going to die. And then I had that experience, like, wow, I remember
it was me driving.
This way I could just turn.
You were in the minivan.
Saw this fence, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. And I thought, right here, right now, okay. And then the wave came over me.
Severed his lungs. Both lungs were severed in the crash. Both lungs were severed. Thank God. He just woke up and they were unsevered and he could breathe through them suddenly.
And just like that wave of peace, because I've been studying quantum physics, and also knowing, what I know about, the Bible and God, but the quantum physical realm, I just thought.
The quantum physics, Bible and God, all those. So, of course, Scott Mckay says he's been studying quantum physics since he was a child. But he thinks quantum physics is the human body ascending into the next dimension. So there's that.
Here's what's really going to happen and why and how. And then, of course, it settled over me. I just remember putting my forehead down on the road, and my brain's like, you're just going to fade to black. In about 30, 40 seconds, fade to black. And then that comes over you, and you feel this,
You know what doesn't happen in a near-death experience? You don't say, oh, my lungs are severed. My back exploded. My pelvis is dilated. Now I know I'm not breathing because of severed lungs. And 30 or 40 seconds from now, I'm just going to fade to black. I've already accepted it. That doesn't happen in a near-death experience. None of mine have. I've never heard anybody reporting that. But maybe Scott, quantum physics near-death is different.
This drift, this very, it's like anesthesia hits you. You're out like 99, 98, boom. You wake up like, hey, wait, I was about ready to say 97. Now you just come out of 8 hours of surgery. It's not like that. It's this drift. And at some point I remember, when you're fading to black, and then at some point I remember hearing this horrible sound, and it's just this horrible. I say it's like somebody was stabbing a walrus to death.
He heard someone stabbing a walrus to death. That was the people in the minivan. They were not a lot of people know this, but there's big money in trafficking walruses. They use walruses body parts. They use walruses body parts on the black market, and mostly their prostates, and they sell those for virility in gas stations.
I've heard that, so I have no idea where I got that, but that's the noise, and I'm thinking, where's the white light? Where's the white light? And at some point, I now am fading back in. The noise I was hearing was my lungs were just firing away, trying to start breathing again, I guess, and obviously.
Oh, they were severed. Your lungs were severed, Scott. They don't just start breathing again. They were severed, remember?
They did, because now I'm fading back in, and I was shocked, like, holy shit, I'm still alive, right? So that whole thing caused me to go into this life event where I had to rectify, how could this possibly happen to me? I'm trapped in this rec hall.
How could this possibly happen to Scott Mckay?
Skyrocketing, because I know they're going to turn me, because they put 6-inch screws into each side of my pelvis, into my sacral spine to hold it on. They my anterior
6-inch timber screws. The doctor literally pulled them out of his deck and brought them in threw a quick shot of bleach on them and just screwed them sons of bitches in.
Right in the front above the pubic line. They plated that. They winched it together, plated it together. I kept surviving these surgeries, which they didn't feel were survivable. And then they had to, open my whole, slice me down my hip, down the side of my leg, open it all up, tear it apart, find out the bone fragments, try to.
What you guys don't know is Scott Mckay is 5'1". That's a verified fact. He is 5'1", verified. No question about it. He is 5'1". But before he was in that crash, he was 6'4". He was a full-grown boy.
Puzzle them together, and then put a long plate on the outside of my femur with 12 screws holding it in, and then they had to
more deck screws.
Rebuild the angle. I got a spinal fusion L5S1 that, lucky for me, held it all together. But so you wake up to that and you wonder why you. Well, it took me about 3 weeks when I could catch my breath.
I thought you were wondering about quantum physics and how they healed you
from the horrific nightmare, the pain, and everything else. And then I realized this is my moment. This is where I get to prove my philosophy that I've been espousing to people for decades. So now I'm being called out by God himself. Okay, I'm calling you on your bullshit. Let's see if you can prove, what you've been saying and thinking. And I called the Christ consciousness. So I had my moment to say this was supposed to happen to me.
The Christ consciousness is what he reached out to, and he knew this had to happen to him. It's the Christ consciousness, guys. It is the Christ consciousness, and he knew that this had to happen to him. Who else could it possibly happen to other than Scott and his Christ consciousness?
And this is what I'm now going to do. I'm going to unleash myself with my own philosophy that I believe God's path for me was different. It brought me right back home to, a non-belief and a connection to God, to an absolute metaphysical, spiritual, and physical connection to my creator. And I always knew I was here for something that was going to be somewhat combative. It was going to be the U.S. Senate, but all that shit went away when I realized they're all criminals. So I walked away from that, and this was what I was put here to do, and to make that comeback. I was homeless, crippled, and penniless 8 months after the crash, almost by design too, because the weight of basically an ultimatum came on me, and I had to make a choice: do I stay in a safe environment, in a home, and built for my protection and ramps and chairlifts, or do I call the bluff and end up homeless, crippled, and penniless? And I called the bluff because I had 2 wars to fight. This one to rebuild this and walk, and then this.
Wait a second. Does he stay in his home that has wheelchair ramps, handicap accessible, all the stuff that he would be safe and there to recover, and it's all set up for his recovery? Or does he end up homeless? Well, of course I go homeless because my choice, 2 wars to fight. Why would you become homeless? Why wouldn't you just heal?
Life events that were coming down on me that had me trapped, and I couldn't win both wars. So I chose the latter. I call it the FU option. And then I went to war. I was taken in by somebody, a very wonderful human being in my life from the past, and a client of mine, and brought me into his home, an elderly gentleman. And it's like, you got a bedroom, a bathroom, you're done with that. And because I refused a disability check, because I didn't want my brain to think I was disabled, I had a five-year battle every day on this wreckage. Just go to war and take the pain, and we're going to make this thing the Christ consciousness, rewire this so I can at least look relatively normal. as long as I keep my Herman Munster boot on the other side, because that leg is busted badly. But so once I make this 5-year comeback, and I finally did start working again, I said, I'm going to walk. I don't care what they say. I'm going to work again. I don't care what they say. And I'm going to ride again. I don't care what anybody says. So I get my Harley Davidson, moved to Dallas from Los Angeles. And 5 years later, I accomplished phase 3. I got my dream twisted cherry colored Street Glide special, and just looking up, my God.
Oh yeah. His audience bought him that motorcycle. His audience bought him his new motorcycle because he had to, right? He had to have it to match the fucking tour bus that his audience bought him.
And I'm like, we made it. We made it. And then one day, 10:30 at night, down the street here, I live downtown Dallas, coming through an intersection, and Moody and Cedar Springs, big intersection, 5 lanes. And as I'm coming through it, out of nowhere, wham, I got taken out by.
I think Quantum God is trying to tell you to not ride a fucking motorcycle. Clearly, you're not good at it. Maybe you shouldn't have been saved. You know who doesn't parachute again? People who forget their parachute when they jump out of a plane. Maybe God is telling you to stop riding a motorcycle.
A high-speed, big Texas pickup truck.
High-speed, big Texas pickup truck. Because we're in Texas, everything's bigger. They even make special pickup truck models just for Texas.
That side destroyed me again. I'm flying through the air.
Whoa! So this is after 2014. Later on, 5 years later, you get hit again.
Yeah, so it was. The first one was April 26th, 2014.
Even this guy's like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude? 5 years later, why did you not just? Why did you not just fucking quit that?"
14. The second one was July 26th, 2019. I don't know.
You're like well in your recovery, and then you get hit again.
Yeah. So that was the one that was unbelievable, because here I am, right? And so I'm flying through the air. It was such an abrupt shock to me to feel this, and it got everything. It's funny for the second time. And I'm like out here, the hood of the pickup's up here. I get taken out. My legs are out on the highway pace. Wham! And next thing I'm flying through the air, and I'm not thinking, how did you get out of a head injury that killed you again, second time, which should have. So I'm flying through the air across 5 lanes, like Superman. My bike's underneath me. It's flying too. And I'm headed for.
Like Superman flying, his bike's flying, he's flying. The much larger Texas pickup truck is flying. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
And I'm thinking, my brain's like going, I don't know if you're going to make it out of this one, because I'm headed for a curb, like almost like head first.
Wow.
Somehow I land on my back and between a curb and a sidewalk. And I'm like, first thing I thought was, I looked around, I saw I'm laying on my back in the grass, and I'm just, first thought was, holy shit, I just landed in the only patch of grass in downtown Dallas. Like,
Wow, man.
Things are looking up. Things are looking up, and I'm like, so I think about my leg, and I reach down, and my shoulder, whole side's hurting like hell. And I just reached down because they gave me 30% chance that I would keep that foot because of the damage and all that. So I lift my thigh up, and I can see right below where the metal stops and the knee is, it just goes like this. A perfect femur just broke it completely. And right about 6 inches above where they reattached my foot and the ankle, rebuilt that, it shattered. My femur and tibia turned down 90 degrees and facing in.
90 degrees, facing inward, more screws. This guy's a walking hardware store.
Oh my God, they're going to take my leg this time. Wow. I was like, so I end up in Baylor Trauma Center here. Amazing surgeons for the second time. I'm begging them, please save my leg. I'm like telling them my story. I'm like, trust me, give me one more chance. I guarantee I will make it back again. And I remember when they pulled these body scans up, and they're looking at the screen and all this metal in me. I could just see them like going,
wow.
I'm thinking, oh man, I'm in real trouble. So anyway, my leg ended up.
There you go.
And they drove a nail up through my femur from my knee upward. Then they drove one from my knee the whole way to the bottom to, hold all that mess together. And then they had to rebuild my foot itself and all kinds of metal in there. So pretty much, that's why when I travel with Sasha Stone, he's like, you know what? He said, I've been hammering away on this trans.
When he travels with Sasha Stone, they both rent motorcycles. And Sasha Stone, with a passenger, never ridden a motorcycle, pulled out on a slight incline. Scott Mckay killed it and almost fell over. If you're wondering who we're talking about, the one and only Patriot Street Fighter. Oh, no, it's muted. Hold on. I was wondering why I hadn't played yet.
Street fighter, kicking ass and taking names.
In a car by yourself, probably with your saddle shoes on and your sister's bobby socks.
Patriot, meat diver gonna do a dance with his tomahawk.
Motorbike. Here he is killing it. He can't pull out on this slight incline. Oh, killed it. Got to start it and get it going. Put it in gear. Here we go. Maybe.
Meat biter technology is his middle name.
Now being conducted here and also across the world. See, we've got let's say we've got a camera issue here going to work on. I'm not sure why, but it's like
it was a Cabal minivan.
Meat beater, bringing the love to his fellow man.
You want to kill yourself? No problem. I'll hand you a rusty butter knife. You can cut your head off right in front of me. I have no problem with that if that's what you want to do.
Perfect. Quantum physics. I like the shift. Patriot.
Weed fighter, give us a call. We can do it all.
Full throttle lawn care. Patriot landscaper. Full throttle lawn care. Get into the fight. Calling down the thunder on weeds. PatriotLandscaper.com. PatriotLandscaper.com. 555-1776.
Patriot Street Sweeper.
Oh no. Oh no. Poor Patriot Street Fighter. Who knows? Oh my God. Hold on just a second. We may have a news interruption and a channel to go harass.
If I wanted to talk to somebody, I had to get, close enough in proximity. Proximity.
Good job, Ed.
To them to actually project my voice.
Hold on just a second. That was from BT. Thank you. Shout out to BT. He'll be on Rumble sometimes as QBT.
They could literally be 12,500 miles away, So, yeah. Interesting times. So anything interesting happening in the world that I missed? Because I haven't even been watching.
I haven't been watching, so to be honest with you.
I thought it was Jeff B. It's not.
Yeah, I think, I guess.
God, we were so close. I thought we had somebody, folks.
Agenda for a long time, and here I am traveling with a fucking cyborg.
That's funny, man. I mean, this is like almost, to me, it rings like a medical freedom story, because you basically use your own autonomy to use the power of mind, power of spirit to basically heal yourself.
Yeah, and that's why I've said to people, people look at me and say, that's just amazing. And like, you're so amazing. And I'm like, stop. It's not that I'm so amazing. All right. It's that all of us.
I about lost it. Somebody just sent me that and said, Jeff B ? But it wasn't.
These works you will do, and even greater than I. Let me repeat it, because I say this from every stage in America with the General Flynn Reawaken Tour, Clay Clark Reawaken Tour. Christ said this. What does he mean? These works you will do, and even greater than I. I'm like, is Christ a bullshitter? Christ was trying to tell us what he knows, what he learned, what he'd come to be. And that's why they killed him. They could not afford to have people understanding that we are all part of our Creator. We are in the likeness and image of our Creator, which means we have the power of our Creator, which means we can do what Christ did and Christ is still doing today, the Christ consciousness. That's how I describe it. And that's why I know we're going to win this battle, because we finally have broken down their veil of secrecy. And I'm going to I knew my job and my opportunity was that this is my moment. I'm going to use my philosophy. I'm going to put the power of everything in motion, no matter how bleak it is, how broke I am, how many years I have to eat eggshells because I had no money to buy calcium to heal these bones.
What? I think it's time for a meme of Scott eating eggshells because he has no calcium to heal his bones.
This is what I'm going to do in motion. And my opportunity was that this is my moment. I'm going to use my philosophy. I'm going to put the power of everything in motion, no matter how bleak it is, how broke I am, how many years I have to eat eggshells because I had no money to buy calcium to heal these bones. This is what I'm going to do.
For years, he ate eggshells because he had no money to heal his bones. For years, he had to eat eggshells because he had no money to buy calcium to heal his bones.
I'm going to tell the world this is what Christ was trying to tell us. Therefore, stop waiting for Christ to drop on the planet, put his feet on the ground and say, wow, what a shit show you guys have allowed this to become since I left. Let me reward you. I'm going to bring you up to heaven, turn you loose up there and see what you kids can do. Like now, it's an action plan. Christianity is an action plan. So that's the whole story,
So there are people who call, they'll use a beware the dual MP5s. Shit's deep, son. That's right. There are people who take eggshells. They're like usually holistic people, and they'll crush them into a super, super, super fine powder as small as you can crush them. Some of them even put them in like, you ever seen pot or tobacco grinders or pill crushers? Put them in that. They'll make that in a powder. They'll store it. You have to be super, super careful to clean the eggshell extremely well because of salmonella and any other thing associated with chicken products. But they don't eat eggshells, okay? They crush it into a powder and then they'll add it to orange juice or some shit. They don't eat eggs. How many years I had to eat entire eggshells because I didn't have money for calcium to heal these bones.
Now, if you look at me, I mean, if I walk up to you, I can make it so you have no idea that I'm still paralyzed or all the damage. Unless you look at my left foot, you'll see a boot. It's got my biker boots have a platform added to them. It's because my legs so badly, it's about 1.5 inches shorter. But other than that,
That's one of the most miraculous stories I've heard in my life. I mean, it's almost like God put you up these challenges in order to build you. And when you're saying that, yes, we all have the power, I don't know. I tend to think that, yes, we do all have the power, but it's these challenges in life. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that came before these accidents. But I think that's what kind of makes us.
I knew it was going to make me. And I can tell you, it's not easy. I can assure you I can make it sound easy, but the pain was horrific. You know, I learned this from a physical therapist, this beautiful Indian lady from India who actually said to me, Scott, she said, you're going to walk again. Something that she figured out.
Beautiful Indian lady came to him and said, do you guys know that Scott Mckay, I don't know if he's still claiming this, but there are shows that exist that he claims that he was laying in bed one day facing the wall. Okay? He was laying in bed one day facing the wall. Then an otherworldly entity, I think he called it an alien or what we know as God or the Christ consciousness, approached him from behind. He claims he knew what was going on, so he didn't turn around, and the thing came up to him from behind, I guess inserted some type of probe, he doesn't say, and healed him. He claims he was healed in his sleep by an alien, but he was really awake and knew what was going on, so he didn't turn around. Sound like he got a little snuggle with a struggle, if you know what I mean.
About me because it
was me
in the rehab hospital. I would unleash myself, and I'm in a wheelchair doing things, but she could see clearly I was terrified to death when they would move me out of a bed, and finally got me into an upright, like a not quite upright, laying back position. I was so weak and so scared because I was like a rickety picnic table where the bolts were loose. It was old, and and that's how my skeleton would give. And I was so afraid because if I hit the floor or fell or jarred myself, it becomes catastrophic. And so I couldn't even hold my head up. They'd have to put. I was like 225 pounds when this happened. I'm now 165 pounds. I'm a skeleton, right? And my head was so weak. They had to put something back here to hold my head up because I could, like a newborn baby, I couldn't even hold my head up. So
like a big 5'1" newborn baby, 5'1", 245 pounds newborn. Could you imagine carrying that through the door? Look what the stork left us.
This lady saw how I would but I was on the national competitive bodybuilding stage, so it wasn't elite for me. It wasn't heroic to fight that hard. My brain was wired for that, beating the hell out of my body like this for years. So I was prepared for that. But I was willing. When I was in it, I got out of a wheelchair. I don't know, months after. I was in a bed for months at home, but when I could get out of a wheelchair on Moby legs, I got into my vehicle and I wasn't allowed to drive. I wasn't supposed to drive or allowed to, but I did anyways. Went to a gym down the road and I'm crutching myself in there. And people that hadn't been there long, but people that knew me saw this horrific sight, like here I come in, this scarecrow, and they didn't know what happened, and I'd start there and I'd be like, you know what, I started to do things like on an upper body machines, and this nurse had been in there one day. She was in there and she walked over and she couldn't believe that this Indian nurse couldn't believe that she saw me in this place because I'm holding onto a machine and my left leg's paralyzed, so it's worthless, but my right leg, obviously I had some strength, but I would pull myself up and down to give my lower body this mimicking like I'm actually doing something. And she said, that's why you're going to walk, Scott. She goes, because people, when they're in pain, they don't move. That's their response. Don't move. The pain is so great. And here you are. You're not only moving, you're ramping it up time.
Who on earth does this kind of bullshit appeal to? So the Q-tards, the fifth dimension people, the people who think quantum physics has something to do with healing yourself through vibrations. It's one of those, it's almost like a motivational speaker, but for retarded people. I don't know how else to put it.
Put yourself through this. She said, that's why you're going to walk again.
Wow.
I was like, kind of pumped me up a little bit. But anyways, it all sucked.
Someone accused him of being a reptilian for eating. He was paralyzed. Yes. He was spent 2 weeks in one of those wheelchairs where you had to blow the straw to move around. Stephen Hawking's.
And the worst part was, your whole life's gone. The people that you once knew, the businesses I had, I lost my
Hawking.
Business relationships I had. My life was pretty good at that time, but all that stuff just fell away, and you're left on your own because people just kind of they feel sorry. They don't really want to be part of that. Later on, when you come back, you're like, hey, why didn't you? Whatever. I would have. I heard the world knew what happened to me all over Facebook, but I had this world that I lived in, and I thought, okay, I'm going to protect my mind, and I'm going to protect it all, and regardless of what they think and what they see of me, I'm going to fight because this is my moment that I've always wanted to overcome the fear of life, overcome somebody saying no to me, overcoming failing, overcoming people thinking things or saying things about me or whatever, all the shit that keeps us down. They were doing all of it, and I looked pathetic. And God love him. Look at him come. I mean, look what happened to Scott Mckay. That's what goes on in their head.
This is the same speech he gives at every one of his events. The same thing he says everywhere he goes. The same thing he does no matter where he appears. This is it.
But it's just normal. And
we're gonna skip around some because I'm gonna cover some more stuff. I'm feeling a little a little wild tonight. We're gonna get to some other stuff. We're gonna shout out Miss Dreamweaver. She got a special mention today from Phil Godlewski. Oh yeah, double Purple Heart, I think, Vern. Hell, I would have given mine. Ripped it right off my fucking chest had I seen this motorcycle explode.
The world you once had is gone. Well, I thought, talk about clearing the table. Like, none of that shit can hold me back. It's right there. Like, you're on your own, buddy. And other than people taking me in. But I knew the whole time that was exactly the prescription I needed for what I wanted to become in my life, you know? And it's amazing because, you know, looking back at all of it, people think bad things happen to you. Woe is me. I never let that happen in my whole life. If I had a shitty, terrible day, nobody knew it ever. Like, because I keep a smile and I'm not putting my bullshit on other people. But I needed that to be an example for me, obviously, and for people to understand that.
What's up, Mad Face?
What's weighing them down? Like, I knew decades before this day was coming for Patriot Street Fighter. I had no idea it would be this. I thought it was going to be a senator in Washington, D.C. raining hell down on these same criminals that are all around me. I had no idea I walked away in 2006, but I just knew, and I've known this most of my adult life. This day is coming where I'm going to have to, you know, rally this battle cry on the country. And I told my mother this in 2008.
This day's coming. I'm going to have to rally a battle cry for the country. I'm going to have to get them up, get them going, guys. Nobody does it like Scott Mckay.
When I lost another company, and she's like, "Why do you do this?" I'm like,
first of all, you get their attention by being a midget. Second of all, you're a midget wielding a tomahawk. They got to listen then.
Makes sense to you, I'm sure, but I just all I can tell you is I've got to hit a home run ball so I have enough money, enough wealth so no man owns me, because something tells me that the day's coming in this country where we're going to be pushed to the brink, and I'm going to have to stand up and rally a battle cry in this country to get it on its feet to fight, or we're going to lose it all. And I said that in 2008, 2020 Patriot Street Fighter hits, right? Who would have known that I get to do that? So that's the whole story from front to back, why I'm in the show with you. I get all that behind me now.
That is the most amazing story. I mean, it's obviously, like, I mean, I think these challenges, like I said, like, these are God-sent challenges that build us into the people that we're supposed to become. And now you become like a major leader in this movement, highly respected. I mean, looking at it in retrospect, like 9 years ago on the side of the road, thinking you're going to die. I mean, there's divinity in all this. I mean, did you feel that, or?
He felt quantum physics, the Christ consciousness.
Yeah, you know, even though I walked away from God in 1999, as born-again Christian since I was 14, always wanting to be the guy that God would say, "There's one of mine. This is a good man," etc. Now, I wasn't perfect. I could sin with the best of them, but all of my life it was always to be, you know, this good person. And 99, at some point, I mean, I'm living in Los Angeles at the time, and my world just came unglued one day on the road on the freeway. I broke down in tears, like sobbing, like, what the hell's going on? And it was just this constant weight.
Yeah. So Scott Mckay decided that it would be respectful to all wounded veterans, to his father, who was a veteran, to all non-wounded veterans that know somebody who's been wounded or killed in action, that he would give out Purple Hearts to people who lose their social media accounts, lose Facebook. When I called him out on this, he made a fucking big deal about it and called me a fucking bitch and said he's got tons of patrons that support him in it. I called him out on it. Then he tried to say it's comparable. Hey, they lose their social media. They lose the people they're talking to. They lose their free speech. They lose their income. Yeah, sounds like they deserve a Purple Heart. Okay, no difference. Same.
Nothing in my life was going right. And that's when I finally looked up and said, F you, literally, like full blown. I'm done. Drop the anvil on me. I don't give a shit. Drop it. I'm done living like this. And I walked away, right, from the Bible, from God. And it wasn't that I just said there's no God, whatever, completely agnostic. I just like, this prescription is bullshit, all of it. And I know there's a blueprint. I'm going to figure it out. So quantum physics became that track of my life, studying quantum physics. And that just was the first thing that finally, although I couldn't understand it, I mean, like, I kept reading and reading until finally everybody's brain will do this. It'll start to form patterns of recognition to where you can learn anything, period. I don't care if you got all D's in high school. I don't give a shit. The brain is the brain. It is what it is. You exercise it like a muscle. You stay at it. It's going to grow and expand. And I understood that. And so that's what allowed me to have this experience where I came full circle back to God. And it hit me one night. I always wanted the big whammy. And finally one night that happened when I was in bed.
I'm going to see. I've got some old clips of Scott. Let's see what these are. These are some old Scott clips that I still have. Oh, that one. How did I record one muted?
Barring anybody who their employment, they're forced to, that kind of stuff. Again, I'm not, people get overly sensitive at times about things that I say, like the digital Purple Heart. I should address.
Here we go.
I get it from soldiers who have a Purple Heart at times. Other guys just dipshits like this guy. I won't even tell you what his name is. He's an idiot. Attacks me all the time.
Me.
Scott Mckay is a piece of shit or whatever. These people, they don't do anything useful in the world. But the digital Purple Heart, these are just kind of some housekeeping things I need to address. Folks, this is where people got to stop this nonsense of being sensitive to every single thing somebody is. Look, for one guy, I had a great letter from a guy who's a veteran, Vietnam, Purple Heart. Everybody knows where I stand on this. These people are held in incredible reverence.
Everybody knows where I stand on this. I give them out to my friends because they're just as good.
I don't do these things out here because I take it lightly. If you don't understand this, this is not dangerous for me. If you haven't figured,
this is not dangerous for me. This is not dangerous. Okay, why do I deserve a Purple Heart? Why do my friends, my grifting friends, deserve a Purple Heart? Because this is not dangerous for me. Okay.
Figured this out by now. The people that I go after, you have any idea what that means? So therefore, people that are overly sensitive about shit that I say, that's our whole problem. Everybody is offended by something, right? We're adults. We're supposed to be grown-ups in this world. At some point, you got to stop focusing on this shit that does not matter. Sensitive about a digital Purple Heart. How do you know that Purple Heart discussion is not an education factor for all the kids that are coming up in this new generation that have?
So here's his argument. I'm teaching kids what a Purple Heart is by giving it to Kirsten W. By giving it to LT. By giving it to David Nino Rodriguez. I'm teaching kids what a Purple Heart is. It's something you get when you're banned from social media for grifting. I've got it. Who's teaching the kids?
No idea what the hell a Purple Heart is. They think it's somebody's heart's purple. Isn't it supposed to be red?
Yeah, that's what they think. They think, oh, I've heard of the purple-headed yogurt slinger, but I've never heard of a Purple Heart. I thought hearts were red.
Guess what? You think that they're going to be clued in on the sacrifices that people paid on the battlefield of world wars, Vietnam, Iraq? Do you think they're going to teach them any of this stuff? Of course not. Us having a...
You think they don't teach U.S. wars and U.S. history? You think they don't teach how many soldiers lost their lives? You think they don't show like the flag at Iwo Jima? Like, of course they do.
Digital Purple Heart for people who got taken out of action on this digital warfare battlefield.
There you go. This is a digital Purple Heart for people who got taken out of action for this digital warfare battlefield. Digitally.
If I get a chance, I'm going to ask General Flynn when I'm
wounded.
Meet him
Here's a spoiler. He didn't ask General Flynn.
In Tulsa. See if he's offended by it. In my opinion, it keeps it alive. It keeps the discussion alive. And what is a real what's that? Well, a Purple Heart, little millennial or person, skull full of...
A Purple Heart is something I give to Kirsten W. When she got kicked off Facebook. Little millennial mushhead.
Is soldiers who've gone into battle for the defense of freedom and they get wounded. They've taken wounds, some devastating, catastrophic. They're awarded a Purple Heart for the sacrifices they made for the nation to the point where they're actually injured in battle. That's a Purple Heart. Wow, really? So what's a digital Purple Heart? It's our version of people who were taken in honor and respect.
It's our version of making it less of an award. We give it out to people who lose their YouTube channel. It's our version of it.
For the soldiers that took live fire and had physical.
These are the same people that had a fucking meltdown when they picked the woman of the year that was a man. And they're saying words do matter. Context does matter. You can't just say a man's a woman, but you can say a Purple Heart goes to people who lose their Facebook page.
Injury. So we want to be like them. When we grow up, when we're no longer kids, we want to grow up and be just like our soldiers who actually fought in battles and are.
When Scott grows up, he wants to be a soldier. He just said it. He wants military recognition so fucking bad.
Digital or the real Purple Heart. So again, people just got to stop this nonsense. And again, I'm not. Let me say, veterans who actually have a Purple Heart, it's not nonsense. It's not.
If you have a Purple Heart, it's not nonsense. If you don't have a Purple Heart and you just know somebody, like your best friend was killed in combat, or you watch some guy fucking explode from a mortar round, it's nonsense. You piece of shit.
Nonsense to you. It's not nonsense to me. I greatly respect, truly. And again, anybody who knows my history for decades, you wouldn't even bring this up to me if you know what I've been doing for decades.
Again, we have to have a call to the past to say, hey, I've been respectful to vets in the past. This is the same as saying, I can't be a racist for saying the N-word. I have a black friend. If you knew my past, you would say, hey, this guy respects people and veterans.
In defense of soldiers in this country, in my reverence for them. Those who don't have a Purple Heart, that's nonsense to me, because you don't have one for whatever reason. Now you just want to, why don't you focus on what John McCain never did for the VA? Why don't you focus on what the government is doing against the soldiers?
It's because I can multitask. I can focus on multiple things. If I want to focus on you being a piece of shit and other people being a piece of shit, I can do both.
And not doing for them. Why don't you focus your fire there where it really matters? So anyways, that being said,
imagine if he presented a folded flag and gave a full digital military funeral for someone who got their comment deleted. Like what the fuck? Hey, you can't just say, oh, this is our version and it's not disrespectful because I said so.
But you know what? I do get people that send me letters, incredibly respectful. I keep them. The people.
Hey, what's up, Q idiot? How you been, buddy?
That are just, people I'm not going to pretend that I think is okay. Boom, they're out, deleted. But the people that reach out that disagree with me,
those basketball-headed bitches.
Letters. I'd like to write. If an email, I can write back if I get to it, ever get around to it, ever discover it. But the other stuff, I just don't pay attention to it. So let's talk for a minute. A couple things I want to make very.
That was one of the older clips I have. I have some more. You want to check out some old Scott Mckay clips or no? I'm going to grab another one when you guys decide. Old clips. They're not all Scott Mckay. Let's see what this one did. I accidentally.
You didn't say, what happened?
Oh, that one's sped up. I can delete that one. I've got duplicates here. I need to delete some of these anyways. Let's see what this one is.
But so when people take my work and they put it out there, that's all I care about. But I will say this. I mean, getting videos up to get a whole lot of hits. And
this is where he cusses me. Listen, this is where he yells at me because I had that Scott Mckay, Patriot Street Fighter's a piece of shit video. And when he lost his YouTube channel on like Patriot Street Fighter 7 or 8, it was pretty early on. All of his fans found my video. In like 2 days, it got like 60,000 fucking views. Because they didn't know where he went. His channel got taken down. So when they typed in Patriot Street Fighter, he didn't have a backup up yet. And it brought up me, number one. The very first one.
The YouTube channel.
He's so mad.
Mine. I don't even give them a choice to monetize mine. But
what's crazy is how mad he gets, right? What's crazy is how, like, I'm laughing about it and joking around or whatever, and he's saying that I'm taking it too serious because I'm a whiny bitch. And then it says, you don't have a Purple Heart, you don't matter. But he's the one who like fucking flips out about it.
When people take my work and they put it out.
Oh, it skipped back. My bad.
But I will say this. I mean, getting videos up to get a whole lot of hits and to monetize the YouTube channel, which I can't monetize mine. I don't even give them a choice to monetize mine with advertising because I don't say the right things. However, these folks can take my videos, put them on.
He's not allowed to give them a choice. I'm going to give you this choice. Like that's the dumbest way to put it. When you get 1,000 views, or 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, or there's also a way to qualify with YouTube Shorts. I don't know how because I don't make a whole lot of shorts. I do on my other channel, Cold Beer Creations. Check it out if you hadn't. That's where we do our play games and build remote control shit and have fun with the kids. It's a really cool channel, Cold Beer Creations on YouTube. But there's a way to get monetized as shorts as well. But you don't give YouTube the choice. If you don't have a strike and you got 1,000 viewers, a strike that hasn't fallen off yet, and you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, it just pops up. You don't give them the choice. They give you the choice, and you can't change that around.
Their channel, they get a lot of hits, and they're making a lot of money on advertising. Okay, I make none.
That's right, Tim.
Shows you what the hypocrisy that comes from YouTube. But here's what I would say.
Okay.
To the patriots, the patriots. If you're going to run my videos and you're going to make money on my videos, how about doing the honorable thing? And how about putting the links to Patriot Street Fighter in your description or right on your channel? How about giving a little credit to what we're doing over here and mentioning some of the things that we are supporting over here, like Operation Restoration or the Global Unity Bridge, or some of these things.
Operation Restoration was something he was supposed to be doing with getting Navy SEALs on school boards. I'm pretty sure he was trying to get Navy SEALs on school boards. But that's just what he named it, because there's already an Operation Restoration that's actually, it supports women and girls who have been incarcerated to meet their full potential and still succeed with their life. So he just stole that name, but it was about getting Navy SEALs on school boards.
Whoa, the general just dropped off. The general just dropped off. Just imagine in 6 months he's going to drop off forever because you drug him to one of his shows and gave him COVID. Let me find out. How did that happen? So there he is.
Digital dominance.
Gotcha, Pop.
Gotcha, General.
He didn't say it. I thought he was going to say, what happened? So, yeah, folks, if you're going to use the material, hey, how about giving a little credit over here?
Here we go. Get ready.
I mean, people grab the stuff, right? Like I said, I don't care if you're monetizing it. But the decent, reasonable, polite thing to do would be point people over to our channel. So if they want to come over here, they can. But like I said before, there are patriots and there are patriots, P-A-Y. And look, I think everybody should be able to get paid for their work. It takes a lot of work. I mean, I got some dime store douchebag that has a video that says Scott McKay's a piece of shit.
That's me.
This guy's actually funny.
That's me, and I'm actually funny. I'm the dime store douchebag piece of shit who's actually funny.
Store douchebag, I won't even give you his name, that has a video that says Scott McKay's a piece of shit, and this guy's actually funny. I look at this clown, and I'm like, wow. You know, he's got his virtual aviator glasses on in his mother's basement, wearing his Keds, or maybe he's wearing saddle shoes with bobby socks. I don't know, but
I'm so built different. I don't even know what the fuck that is. It is an amazing thing when you get insulted because a generation so much older than you insults you in a way that you have to go to the dictionary to figure out what the fuck they meant. Oh, I'm built different, Scott. He's probably got his saddle shoes and bobby socks. I don't even ride a horse, and I've never known a man named Bobby. So he can keep his fucking socks, brother.
Attacking our movement. Again, I beat up on the people that say they're patriots, but he was ex-military. I'm stolen valor, I guess, for whatever reason, attacking my dad. Imagine this guy attacking the general.
I didn't attack his dad. I used his dad as a point. Like, Scott uses all this military lingo, says he was dying to get in the military. That's the only thing he ever wanted to do. He had the highest test scores ever. But because they didn't take 1,200 people that year and only took 200, they didn't take him, which is ridiculous. They would have taken the people with the highest test scores. He said he set a record. He's the highest test scores ever. Also, all the military lingos and the stuff he relates to, his Purple Heart, military operation, we're moving down, we got to get in an ambush, we got to find cover. He claims he's friends with all these Navy SEALs who give him intel, all that shit to combined with him calling his dad, the general, a guy who made sergeant, which is something to be proud of. Call him Sarge or Staff Sergeant, something. But to call him general is just another check in the box that this guy's got some type of military rage boner, and the only way he can get it out is by playing military on the internet. That's what I pointed out. His dad seems like he had an honorable service record. I'm sorry that Scott killed him, and dreams shattered, I guess.
And attacking Dave Scarlett, Pastor Dave Scarlett. And
I didn't attack Pastor Dave Scarlett. I said, why didn't this guy call him out? And why is he trying to use the Bible to back up Scott Mckay?
LT, right? Attacking these guys. You can attack me. That's easy.
LT should have called him out. The first time I ever saw LT ever was Scott Mckay presenting him a Purple Heart. Now, LT never saw combat from what I can tell. He was in a like a media unit, like public relations for the Marine Corps. He ran a radio station in the Philippines for the Marine Corps. He gave him a Purple Heart. LT should have said, hey, you know, thanks, but no thanks. I know guys with Purple Hearts. You know, I served in the military. Like, that's not my thing.
The only problem with attacking me, there's nothing you can say about me that I haven't already said about myself. A big deal. But attacking guys.
Oh, there's some things I can say that really get under your skin that you haven't said about yourself, brother.
Guys like Dave Scarlett and LT, these are devout Christian men. Fight both Marines, by the way.
By the way, we've heard his form of Christianity. Whenever he appeals to both Christian men, or these are Christian, I'm a Christian, he attached Christians, his form of Christianity is the Christ consciousness, which is an alien and a mothership and fifth dimension. It's not Christianity. They just hijacked the name.
Marines. I don't know what this guy did, but attacking the general, all that bullshit.
I scored too high to be a Marine.
So you have these clowns out there, and what do you think he's doing? He's using your movement or me to monetize, to make money. There's some of us out here that have not used our channels to make money per click, clickbait or advertising. I knew I would never do it, be able to, because fact of the matter is,
he's mad because my channel was monetized at the time.
So if you're going to do that, do the right thing. Push the little credit over here for what people want to find us. Here's where you can find Scott Mckay. Unfortunately, there are those people out there, and that's a problem in this world.
Anybody I cover, unless you're just going over there to make a clip and troll, I don't want you to give them the views. Everybody knows how the algorithm works. So I have covered people that were small-time creators before, and then a large portion of my audience to go over there just to watch how crazy they are and be in their chat and shit. I don't think y'all should watch Phil, because for all those views that you give him, more people are going to see it because you engage with the video just by watching it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I give that advice about anybody I cover. I'll cover them, or if you have something that you really want covered, send me the clip if I don't see it. But every view helps someone else see that.
World of business. I've seen it for 20 years. Is the greed.
Even if you're watching it to make fun of them, it still helps somebody that probably doesn't know see it.
It's staggering. It's what's disgusted me of the business climate in this country. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. In business, there are two types of people. I put them in two categories.
Okay.
You have pie eaters and you have pie bakers. Virtually every time I've ever done, it's been around people.
I'm a big fan of the meat pies.
The ones that are trying to always angle and get the biggest piece of pie that they can, whatever maneuvers they got to make sure they get the.
I like that cadence, Dreamweaver.
Biggest piece. Even though there's enough to go around, I need the biggest piece, and that's what they do. And then there are some people I've done business with. It's the way I've always done business. They're pie bakers. I don't look and see, hey, how can I get the biggest piece of pie? I've given 66% of one of my companies away to two people, and I brought the whole show. I brought everything to the table. And
sure,
watch one of them. One's a good friend of mine, but the other delivered nothing.
Isn't it funny how you can just talk in fucking blank and non-proven statements? hey guys, when I was 28, I made my first $1 million on a sale, and I gave all of that to homeless orphans that were amputees because I'm a generous person. Phil tried to do this. You guys remember when Phil did the water filter 7K, or I'm sorry, the snake water filters? He was making money off that, and he was making money off the ones that you were donating to buy for people who couldn't buy. So basically, let's say the water filters were $50. Phil was making basically a finder's fee. So let's say he got 10%. So a $50 filter, he got $5 back. He was raising money through a GoFundMe to buy filters for the less fortunate, but still was going to pay $50 for that filter and still get his 5% back, instead of saying, hey, this is a fundraiser, let's take my percentage out. So he was making percentage on the ones you bought and the ones you donated for. We called him out for it, and after the company separated from him, no longer wanted to work with him. They went to their webpage and left all these shitty reviews and tried to ruin Seychelles, which seems like a decent company. Honestly, if you need a water filter, like an extreme water filter, they seem like a decent company. He ruined their reputation, ruined them on the internet, broke paths with them, said he was going to fucking sue them. He had his legal team looking into it, lied about Chip being part of the company. After all of that, then he said, yeah, and people were mad I was making money. I was going to donate all that money to veterans. You can't, that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. You shouldn't even say that because you didn't. And there's no proof that you did. If you would have taken up that money and said, here's all the profit, here's my spreadsheet, here's how many sold, here's 5% of the price that I got back, or 10%, I got $5 on every, here's all the money going, yeah, I was going to donate it to veterans.
Not one single thing after 1 year of doing all, I did all the work, delivered nothing, not one thing.
Not one thing.
And these are the kind of people that are a problem in our society. That's what's driven down this world, this America first.
Tim, wouldn't you like to know who his private investors are? I would, for sure.
And the world is this mindset that I got to get as much as I can for myself. So those are the pie eaters. The pie bakers say, you know what? Well, let's just go bake more pies. Let's just build a huge business, build multiple businesses. There'll be enough money for everybody to go around. So
that's exactly right. I think charity should be I think charity should be done for the right reasons, so there's no reason to go and brag about it. If you want to write it off on your taxes, that's fine. I don't care about that. I mean, you write off everything you can on your taxes. But to run and brag, I donated this, or to stick your name all over it, or ask somebody to shout you out, or ask for your name to be put up in lights because you made a donation, you did it for the wrong reasons.
People want to use our work, great. As I say, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
And I can still give you credit for the money. If you give money to a charity, I can still give you credit and say he did give money to a charity, and they're going to use that better than he'll probably use it, right? Because he's a piece of shit. But he's also at fault for coming out and saying, I donated here, I did this, I gave my company away.
But you gotta be reasonable here. And it's a little disconcerting when I see stuff like this. But
I can always tell people who don't watch my show, because they'll come, like, we help our community, and again, that's private. I'm not trying to put out numbers or names or none of that. Never would. I wouldn't embarrass somebody like that, and wouldn't try to claim credit like that. I've been in a position where I needed help, and I'm glad I can help people at times now when they need help, if I can. Sometimes I can't. We're still up against it close sometimes, but if I can help people, I like to help people. But people will come in my show and say, Phil donated to this. What did you do? Scott Mckay bought a jacket for a vet. Phil gave his glasses to a poor kid. What do you do? Know your damn business, first of all, and clearly you haven't watched the show.
Anyway, so you know how to follow us. I have just give you an update on a couple of things. I think I need to bring up the Global Unity Bridge, because we really started moving something around.
Definitely the Global Unity Bridge. I was waiting on that.
Because of the infrastructure it takes to make this happen, we got people going to My Patriots Network, signing up there, getting registered. It's a bigger machine to actually build where we make these connections. Unfortunately, at this time, all the things that are happening, and I only have...
I don't think there's anything left in this clip. I'm about to close it.
Bridging. We're going to...
All right, I got one more that's from around about the same time period, because I recorded them all on March the 2nd, it looks like. Let's see what this one is.
Get the Navy SEALs, get Recon Marines, Delta Forces, guys don't like to ever admit it, Air Force Commandos, Rangers. We're getting these guys to come off the bench with their voice, their influence, and
this is Operation Restoration, Special Forces and School Boards.
Massive respect and reverence that we Americans who didn't serve in the military have for them. And folks ask me all the time, you served in the military. There was some douchebag, some dime store douchebag. I saw this. I did a Patriot Street Fighter search.
He did it. He searches his own name on YouTube. I did a Patriot Street Fighter search on YouTube, and this dime store douchebag, me, popped up.
See what channels I can find. I find this douchebag. This guy's a dime store douche, and his you should. I won't even tell you where to go find it because I'm afraid what you guys will throw at this clown. But hammering away on me pretending that I was a war hero in the military that isn't like the digital Purple Heart. Hey, and I'll concede that digital Purple Heart might be sensitive to some guys. Let somebody else reach out. The digital Purple Heart.
So he even admits I'm not the only person who has brought this up, okay? Multiple veterans have brought this up to him. I wanted to be a Marine, but my head wouldn't fit in the jar, and I hate the taste of crayons. Yeah, I got a brother-in-law who's a Marine. I give him a hard time. Obviously, I don't have no issues with the Marines, but he asked me one time, why didn't you join the Marines? And I said, well, I walked into the recruiting office. They said, what is your ASVAB? And as soon as they heard it was 3 digits, they made me leave. There's also an old Tommy joke that says it's a ranger rowing a rowboat upstream, an Army Ranger, and he's singing Airborne Ranger, where have you been? And God looks down on him and says, look, he's talking to an angel, and he says, look at my most perfect creation, an Airborne Ranger. I bet you I could take 25% of his brain power, and he would still function as a killing machine, rowing his boat. So he goes, boom, takes 25% of his brain power, and he like shakes it off real quick and starts to row and saying, Airborne Ranger, where have you been? And God tells the angel, says, see? He says, I bet you I could take 50% of his brain power. 50% of his brain power. He'd still be a killing machine rowing his boat right up the river. And he goes, boom, hits him with 50%. The guy kind of almost stumbles at this point, picks up his paddles, goes back to rowing, singing Airborne Ranger, where have you been? God says, see, I told you he's a killing machine. I bet you I could take 75% of his brain power, and he'd still be the same guy. Still a killing machine. Still rowing his boat. He hits him, boom, 75% of his brain power going. The guy stumbles down on the bottom of the boat. He picks up the paddle. He gets him back quick. He sees what position he's in. He starts rowing, singing Airborne Ranger, where have you been? And God says, I told you. And the angel says to him, what if you took 100% of his brain power? He says, no problem. He'd be the same guy. He'd still be a killer. He'd still be doing his job. And God says, watch, I'll show you. Boom, hits him, takes 100% of his brain power, of his intellect. The ranger falls down in the bottom of the boat. He rolls around for a minute. He can't figure out what's going on. He picks up a paddle and chews on it for a minute. And he's like, that's not right. He throws it back in the water, and he goes back to rowing again. And while God's saying, see, I told you, the ranger starts singing From the Halls of Montezuma, which is the Marine Corps anthem. I used to tell that to my brother. Or I told that to my brother-in-law. It's a very good Army Marine joke. If you don't know what it is, then it probably didn't make much sense, but it's a pretty good joke.
Is for those people whose channels keep going down. They were fighting the digital war. If the digital war is not important, why did General Flynn been very distinct on an army of digital soldiers? Why was our back channel 17 influencer? Why was it so important to create an army of digital?
Why?
Look,
why would Mike Flynn create an army of digital soldiers? Why would he buy a business called Digital Soldiers Inc., Digital Soldiers Incorporated? Why would he start several websites that make him money around digital soldiers? Why would he go on tours where he's getting $30,000, $60,000, $100,000 an appearance by saying digital soldiers? Why? It's not like he needed money at the time and he was bankrupt after fighting the FBI and lost his home and had no job opportunities. Why would he do that? I don't know. Weird.
There's no blood on the battlefield, but I can tell you.
That's right. Why would he have a copyright on the digital soldier name?
about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to.
This used to be my intro, or it was like music Jay Reese did. If this douchebag sees this particular show, you don't have the balls.
Douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and telling the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls because you know there would be a flaming arrow waiting for you somewhere, but you don't have the forking guts to fight this war on this level.
I'm going to be honest with you. If someone told me they were going to shoot a flaming dildo up in my guts, I'd probably back down. That is a threat that someone does not make lightly. I've got a flaming dildo. It's going to get all up in your guts. I'd be like, whoa, man, you seem more serious about this than I do. I just make jokes on the internet. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm out. I don't know what to say here. Sounds kind of dangerous.
You think that there are people out there that are saying the shit that I'm saying? There may be now, but when I started raining down this kind of hellfire on these people, calling them out by name in this state of Texas who've been running drugs and tracking.
I'm fixing it. You've been making jokes on the YouTube? I got a flaming dildo and I'm fixing to get up in your butt. Get up in them guts. You hear me? Okay, man. You can have it. Like, I'm out. It's not worth it. I'll just start a different channel. Make jokes about something else. You're good. You win.
Kids for decades. You don't have those guts because you're a pussy. You're a pussy wearing aviator glasses in your mother's basement. And I won't even give out your dime store handle because that's really pathetic.
You guys want to hear the song the theme song that they use these clips from? It's called Ain't Seen Nothing Yet by our friend Jay Reese. Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. And they use these clips from it. Listen to this. This used to be our warm-up song, like where the timer goes or whatever. It's actually really good. Let me see if I can get it to play.
About if this douchebag happens to see.
Let me start it over.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go. I think I started some shit.
That's a good song. That's a good. It's even got Jason Q in it.
That stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go. I think I started some shit.
This was the days I was a menace to YouTube.
Bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit.
Where my true believer?
Y'all need Jesus.
Praise the Lord, head to the extreme.
All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit.
This is my ringtone.
You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the bass and them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped them to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said,
"This is gonna be it."
Wait. Stop.
What?
I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it.
Here we go,
go, I think I started some shit.
That was Jason Q.
Office about to get lit, get the place in the bed.
Wasn't it the fraud? It is in that video that BT made. Mike Penny.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3.
Nino.
Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking, he was doing so well. It's all over, hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They rework and copy on cocks that came first. 9th inning, 2nd string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby-eating heathens. Believing in reasons with no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird motherfuckers out here busting the grifts. Here we go, I think I started some shit.
That's it. He goes back and loops into the chorus a couple times. It's an awesome song. The problem with playing it as an intro is that it cusses in the first couple minutes, and it's automatically demonetized if you cuss within like the first minute or 2 minutes or whatever it is. I can't remember. It used to just be 10 seconds, which is fine, but they've upped it since then.
There who want to beat up on me about that, you can say whatever the fork you want. The military in this country for decades knows my reverence. By the way,
the military for decades knows my reverence.
By the way, check the Pentagon records. I got letters from Guy Vanderjack, Armed Services Committee chairman in the House of Representatives, that actually had written me letters explaining to me why they massively cut the budgets.
So that what this is called a form letter. So when a change happens that people are upset about, which I'm sure there were people upset about the military, taking less people that year because of budget cuts. So when people mail a letter that mentions military budget cuts, you automatically get a letter back. It's probably signed by a secretary or stamped or just printed signature from the printer that says, we know you're concerned about this. We're working hard on it. We're sorry we had to do military cutbacks. It's a hard economic time, blah, blah, blah. If they're for it, they would say, we had to do this for whatever reason. If they're against it, they'll say, we're fighting against it. Yeah, you got a form letter. Cool.
My all but guaranteed slot for Naval or Marine Corps Aviation.
All but guaranteed slot for Naval or Marine Corps Aviation because he had the highest test scores they had recorded. But they went from taking 1,200 to only 200, and he wasn't one of the 200. So that tells me he wasn't in the top 200 test scores. Or maybe, let's say, the top 150, because 50 people probably got in because of nepotism. Their dad's a general or what, their grandpa, some, right? So he wasn't in the top 150. Then his story changes. He says the day after his dreams shattered, my whole world come crumbling down. My dreams were shattered. The Marine Corps called him and said, you still interested? That was for the Navy. The Marine Corps called him, said, hey, you still interested in joining the Marine Corps as a pilot? He says, yes, sir. I'm ready to go right now. And they said, do you have a physical? He said, dreams shattered, gone. Can't be a Marine, didn't have a physical. When getting a physical is as easy as saying, no, but I can go get one. Or no, and they say, okay, well, we can schedule you for one. You have to have a physical when you ship anyways. All they were asking is if he had already been to MEPS. You have a physical when you ship anyways. He didn't want to fucking join.
How do you like that, chump? Okay?
I've been at formations, overseas even. Well, I'll call formation after a fucking mortar attack when they literally had us kneel down on one knee, do 3 Hail Marys, and thank Scott Mckay for his reverence. So I know that's a real thing. Obviously, it's got to be a real thing. Thank you for the gifted sub.
What do? You are fighting patriots. You're fighting patriots that have taken the real war, not a clown that gets on a channel that has virtually no subscribers.
Virtually.
Attacking anybody out there who's actually doing that.
What does it say when a clown who gets on a channel that has virtually no subscribers shakes you, your very foundation, to where you have to address it at every live show?
Heavy lifting that you don't have the balls or the mental fire.
Hey, what's up, Thor Spear?
To bring to the table because you're a pussy. I'm sorry. That's just a fact. So, yeah, do I attack other people out there, you bet. You come after me, guess what happens?
Get a meat hammer.
You're going to get a sledgehammer.
Oh,
because we don't have time for your bullshit. And any of the digital soldiers out there, the real players out there, folks,
the real digital soldier players,
time to fight each other. We have to unify. Everybody who's out there fighting this war, you need to be unified. We need to help each other build
unity.
Get influence, get a bigger army, bring on I got a guy, Patriot Street.
So there was a channel called Patriot Street Fighter Jr. and it was like I think the guy was like handicapped. And he was doing a show. I got one more. It might be this one right here in order. Give me just a second. Let me see if it is. Because if it is, it might be worth watching. This is where they say that Scott Mckay was Special Forces. Rest in peace, Doug.
Scott Mckay. Great. He's a digital warrior and a great guy. He was Special Forces. He's the real deal. Daddy's a general. Can't say that P word either.
Daddy's a general. He was Special Forces. So Scott Mckay says that him using all this lingo and the Purple Hearts and the way he talks, the way he acts, him calling his dad the general, nobody believes it. Let's see.
Yes, we listen to Scott Mckay. Great. He's a digital warrior and a great guy. He was Special Forces. He's the real deal. Daddy's a general. Can't say that P word either, guys.
Daddy a general. He's the real deal, boys.
Yes.
Thank God somebody's a real deal.
That they committed election fraud. Absolutely. I think what we're going to see.
Old videos are cool. Let's go read some Phil Godlewski stuff. I'm already tired of listening to Scott Mckay. So Miss Dreamweaver gets a special shout out. I think her name's just spelled Dreamweaver. Let's see. Here we go. Phil Godlewski from his Godlewski group chat 3.0. It says, chat muted. That's how you always know it's going to be a good one. Chat muted. Thank you, Smitty, for the gifted sub. I don't know why those alerts aren't currently playing. This thing's not updating right now. Thank you for the gifted subs. Our gifted subs have been way down this month. I think it's the economy. Thank you for those. I greatly appreciate it. Chat muted by Phil Godlewski. Forwarded from Mrs. Dreamweaver. You seem to only want to sling insults because someone doesn't share your ideology. Do better. Anyone that challenges your false ideology is a, quote, hate monger, eh? Phil says, just to remind everyone, just to remind everyone, this is my channel. I own the channel. Therefore, I make the rules of the channel. Here are the rules, the 10 Fammandments. Don't be an asshole to me, Phil, or to other chat members. Don't be disrespectful to me, Phil, or to other chat members. Don't use profanity, hell, shit, damn, etc. are fine, but not the others. Never, ever take the Lord's name in vain. If Phil's taking the Lord's name in vain so many fucking times, never, ever take the Lord's name in vain. If you want to ask a personal question about me, Phil, attempt to do it privately, not in the public chat. 6, respect the moderators at all times. They are under my commands and following my instructions. You have zero right to be disrespectful to them. 7, no direct sharing of the Telegram channels asking to join or post that have a hyperlink to join the channel. 8, no porn, nudity, or other exploitation of privacy rights. That means that topless picture of Carrie with the nipple pasties is a no-go. The picture that we now have of Phil's gigantic mole on the side of his penis, nope, not doing it. 9, no illegal activity or engaging in conversation about illegal activity. That's almost uniquely Phil altogether. That's almost uniquely Phil altogether. He's the one engaging in this illegal activity with his advertisements. I'm almost certain it's illegal activity. 10, no advertising of businesses other than those on Philazon with Philazon.com links only. So even if your company's a member, even if your company's a member of Philazon, you can't share that direct link because Phil don't get his kickback. You got to share that Philazon link. That's right. And no GoFundMe, no GiveSendGo or other fundraiser links. That's only for Phil to use when he needs to manipulate you. As you may have noticed, I have a lot of latitude with rule number 1 and rule number 2. This wasn't intentional. As you can see, these rules are very, very fair. He just said that he can manipulate the rules. I have a lot of latitude, means that I can change the rules. They're not written in stone. I can interpret them however I want. Then he says they're very, very fair. Got it? Rule number 1 and number 2 are listed as the top 2 rules for a reason. If you want to be disrespectful to anyone, me included, you are no longer welcome in this channel. The comments above from Mrs. Dreamweaver are not acceptable. And others that I did not forward. This is the epitome of disrespect. So someone saying, hey, you ban people that disagree with you or your ideology and you call them hate mongers is too far. It's the epitome of disrespect. You can have your opinions, but when you start to force them down other people's throats with pressure tactics, that is not acceptable. So this is you forcing your opinion down someone's throat. When you say anyone that challenges your false ideology is a hate monger, asking a question like that is forcing your opinions down someone's throat. If this type of conversation continues, I will personally remove the chat members who are not abiding by the rules. Chat unmuted. Deborah says, Mrs. Dreamweaver is from the Cold Beer Confessional, one of Will followers. At Phil Godlewski. At Phil Godlewski. Someone shares her bio and it says, Mrs. Dreamweaver, fuck your feelings. They are not excited about that. Wow, she's classy, says Demi Johnson. Wow, she's classy. Y'all need to grow the crap up. This is from Nora Jane Brown, who can't even use curse words telling other people to grow up. Y'all need to grow the crap up. We're supposed to be on the same team. You're arguing over stupid crap. We're supposed to be bringing unity. Mrs. Dreamweaver, you're intentionally trying to cause divisions. Stop being petty. There you go. I'm sure that'll straighten her out. Then Tim K. Patriot says, Miss Dreamweaver is not liking what she's seeing. I wonder if I can do this. Hold on. I was going to see if I could search the rest of her stuff. I don't think I can, though. Dreamweaver. Oh, yeah, maybe I can. Oh, no messages found. They must have deleted them all or something. It wouldn't let me find them. Anyways, Mrs. Dreamweaver riling up Phil. Also, Phil called me out today, in case you're wondering. Yes, he did. Let's see what we can find. So everybody yesterday was asking who is Will Bird, what I miss about the DEA. Cold Beer Confessional is Bird's channel. Here we go. Phil Godlewski 3.0. at 9 o'clock this morning, already having a meltdown. Brian Cates is irrelevant. Brian Cates is irrelevant. He knows it, and he will say or do absolutely anything to cling to some inverted definition, his own definition of relevance. His articles have no basis of truth. His reporting is one of a dim-witted journalist with very little or possibly none, it should say possibly no, journalistic ability. None journalistic ability is not a phrase. Listening to his voice requires an incredible amount of self-control, as his words literally led the receiver to believe he is lying or unintelligent at the very least. People like Cates are similar to people like Will Bird. I'm sure he did. The only ones I found that he hadn't deleted are the ones that he forwarded for that little speech. People like Cates are similar to people like Will Bird. They must stand on the shoulders of others, me, to proclaim they are giants. They aren't giants. They are sick little people, much less important than any single one of you. And God sees their nefarious activities. I appreciate you all sending me messages of Kate's postings, but I am unconcerned, undeterred, and unwilling to comment any further on these people. My legal team has kept a close eye on all potential defamatory cases, and Will Bird and Brian Cates are near the top of that list. We weren't even included in the last list. That's wild. First, we deal with the Scranton Times and journalist Chris Kelly. Then we pivot to the small timers like Cates. See you on the live tonight. It'll probably take Brian Cates 17 years to get the same amount of viewers as my lives received tonight. That was Phil's big intro. Oh, this guy's a fucking joke, man. A joke. He's exposing us. I'm glad to see Will Bird's and Brian Cates of this movement finally being exposed for all to see. This is from Kaya's mom. Kaya's mom. Finally being exposed for all to see. Phil was 1,000% correct about the Cates worm. He is a perpetual wannabe. I don't know Will Bird, but I do know Brian and dropped him long ago, says Lori Kuroff. Oh, wow. I just got home and I'm trying to read all the updates. What is this about Will Bird and the DEA? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Will Bird is a YouTuber, social media creep who lives to spew hate on Phil. Who lives to spill hate on Phil. Wrong, Will Bird. I don't want you to be sued for slanderous statements at Phil Godlewski. And then she shares this beautiful link. We'll open this up. Hold on. This was from Angie Daz. And this is even the wrong case. This says, a federal grand jury in Chattanooga returned 3 multi-count indictments on March 9, 2010 against LeVar Williams, a.k.a. L, of Cleveland, Tennessee, Demetrius Bird, 23, of Chattanooga, Tennessee, Adrius Stefan Hickey, a.k.a. Age, 44, of Cleveland, LaShonda Blankenship, a.k.a. Sandra, of Cleveland, Tennessee, Stephen Dante Hickey, 33, of Cleveland, Navon Martin, a.k.a. New York, 20, of Cleveland, Corey Moore, 26, of Cleveland, Larry Hickey, a.k.a. Old School, 56 of Cleveland. Kilo Walker, 28 of Cleveland. Phil Taylor, a.k.a. Trey, 22 of Cleveland. Everett Hollins III, a.k.a. E, 26 of Chattanooga. Omar Gash, 31 of Cleveland. Demetrius Scott, a.k.a. Doo-Doo, 30. His nickname's Doo-Doo, 35 of Cleveland. Ronald Whaley, 50 of Cleveland. Vernon Bramlett, a.k.a. Man, 33 of Chattanooga. Christopher Hilt, a.k.a. Juice, 21 of Chattanooga. Demetria Jackson, a.k.a. Mimi, 23 of Cleveland. Marcus L. Hodge, a.k.a. Unk, 36 of Chattanooga. Brandon E. Rawlings, a.k.a. Black D or Boogaloo, 26 of Chattanooga. For various crack cocaine distribution and firearm offenses. An additional indictment was returned against Stacy V. King, 39 of Chattanooga, on March 23rd, 2010 for distribution of crack cocaine. This one doesn't even have William Byrd in it. Instead, right here it says Williams as a last name. Then it says Byrd. Adrius, Stephen, and Larry Hickey. So it's name and last names. Williams, comma, Byrd, comma, Adrius, comma, Stephen, comma, and Larry Hickey. Blankenship, Martin Moore, and Martin, Moore, Walker, Taylor, Hollins, Gash, Scott, and Whaley were charged together in a 51-count indictment alleging conspiracy to distribute over 50 grams of crack cocaine, as well as 49 substantive crack distribution charges. In addition, Larry Hickey was charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. This one doesn't even have my name on it. Like, they're getting worse and worse. There is some William Byrds out there. That William Byrd's a common name. When I was in the Army, there were 8 other ones. I was number 9 just getting in the Army. I was number 9 in the Army at the time I was in. Someone says, that is a nobody named Will Byrd that lives and breathes Phil's name. There you go. That is a nobody named Will Byrd that lives and breathes Phil's name. Oh, these people are wild. All right, let me see if I can find something that we didn't get to go over the other night. It's 11 o'clock. It's 11:45 right now. Let me see. Yeah, let's do this because I was going to take this to Patreon, but I'd rather do it publicly. To give this guy some credit for the stuff he does. So give me just a second, and I'll grab this. It's our Space Force captain setting the record straight over on PPN. I meant to cover it the other day, and I never got to it, so now I need to cover it, and I have it. We got sidetracked with some court documents, I think. Let me see if I can grab this link from Chuck Ruffin for the Space Force staff. I thought I would use that. This one's better. Okay, hold on. I know it's here somewhere. Let me just grab it. Here it is. Copy link. No, that's Derek Johnson again. Where did it go? Let me open this. Give me just a second. Open in Messenger. Yeah, there we go. I had it open the other night. Do you know any of these on this flyer? No. Maybe I just went to Patriot Party News. Oh, I know where I found it. I found it on the thing, but I'll grab it in a second. I think it's RUFFIN, Chuck Ruffin. Patriot Party News. Maybe he shared it on here. Let me see. Surely he did. What's up, Chuck? U.S. Space Force. If you didn't, I'll go grab it from over there. I know where it was at. It was in that group. But I went to the message instead of the group. That was my bad. All right, let me go. Let's see. It is exposing Derek Johnson. Exposing Derek Johnson group. Sorry, I forgot where I found the link from. I had it open the other night, but we never got to it because it was because court documents dropped. Oh God, new intel from there's no such thing as nuclear weapons.
I'll go ahead and break this to everybody. There's no such thing as that. The largest missile that I know of is a Moab. Now it can do some damage, no doubt. And all this stuff has been to scare people throughout time
So Derek Johnson believes there's no such thing as nuclear weapons now
across the world. So, but this has to be one of those things where it scares people.
Of course, that's gotta be it. Of course, there is. I think Baby Trump is now calling him out. Let's see.
All right. Day 2. Jackets are done.
No. Go down.
Somebody said Baby Trump was about to start calling out Derek Johnson.
Where am I? Thank you for putting up with me. For the ones, Jackets, you're getting a special gift. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't think that one's it. But someone said he was going to call him out or had been thinking about calling him out. There it is. There's my DEA post. He works for the he's being investigated by the DEA. It would have been better off to say that I was a fucking CIA agent or some shit. Like, I'm not being investigated by the DEA. You know how much shit you have to move? You know how much shit you had to move to get a DEA case against you? Jesus Christ. When would I have time? When would I have time to be moving to that level of some type of illicit drug to have a DEA case? A DEA case against me. Y'all are crazy. Outside of your mind. I wanted to get the Nino one, but I think it's just on. Actually, we might. He's on with Nino. He was on with Nino as well. I wanted to get that one too, but instead, I didn't because I think it's only behind his paywall. I think Nino put it behind his paywall, and that way, there he is. I keep seeing these pictures of Derek screaming. It makes me sick to my stomach thinking about him screaming. What a fucking piece of shit. I've personally had 4 people face to face tell me with tears in their eyes, one veteran via phone. Oh God, listen. Sorry, I keep finding it cool.
When a soldier writes to you with a pistol in their mouth that they were going to commit suicide and your music took the pistol out of their mouth, fuck you. When a soldier writes to you with a pistol in their mouth that they were going to commit suicide and your music took the pistol out of their mouth, fuck you.
A soldier wrote to him with a pistol in his mouth, which must have been awkward to begin with, right? If you have a pistol in your mouth, you're trying to look around it to write things. Yeah, that's got to be awkward to begin with. But your music saved them. Got it.
I'm best known for my debut top 50 on Billboard, Real Cool, Kinda Hot, and my brand new single, Right Beer Right Now, is currently hitting and climbing the Billboard U.S. Country Airplay. Guess what? That's the same chart as Morgan Wallen, Kane Brown, Luke Combs, Jason Aldean.
Sorry, I got sidetracked again.
So be sure to follow me, check me out, stream, and share my music. Some cool facts about me: I was born in Mobile, Alabama, and grew up in small towns nearby. I've lived in 8 states. I hold a bachelor's and a master's degree in business. My grandpa and Hank Williams Sr. were roommates in Mobile, and I'm the very first Wounded Warrior alumni to ever hit Billboard. Thank you for checking me out. My Facebook and Instagram are at Derek Johnson Country, and my Snapchat and Twitter are I am Derek Johnson. Thank you so much.
Oh, what a fucking it's his words are slimy, bro. His words are just slimy. Like, they bother me. His words, like, I feel like I'm going to get some type of infection. Is this another one of him yelling? Someone says mine too. So they're talking about their husband. Says mine too. He wants a divorce after 40 years because he says I've lost my marbles. My family works for the military/government, and she thinks it's all going on. Her husband doesn't, so he wants a divorce after 40 years of marriage. Holy shit! 40 years of marriage, and he's like, "Oh, I want out now. I want out. Got to get out of here." This is getting to be a little bit too much. Okay. Little bit too much. Wow. Some people, I guess. I couldn't imagine breaking up a family, dude. That's been a husband and wife that's been married for 40 years. And your bullshit has caused this breakup in it. Here's the link, by the way. I found it a minute ago, but I was scrolling through those videos. Damn. All right, Patriot Party news. We're going to have to skip ahead because I don't know when they start, but here we go. What the fuck was that?
Folks. Oh, yeah. Oh, Tom. All right.
Wow. Listen to the energy.
All right. I hope you Patriots out there kicking ass, taking names. Welcome to the party, folks. The PatriotPartyNews.com. I am your host, Chaz Carter, better known as Underground Patriot, coming to you live from the Wolf Den, folks. Oh, yeah.
I mean, could you imagine, even if you have been married for 40 years, for 3 years you've been trying to get her out of this. She's been believing that there's a secret government cabal, baby eater, Democrats who's trying to ruin the world, Trump's still president, and probably donating money. Did you guys read the story about the woman who went to Dallas and hadn't been home to see her kids or her first grandkid be born, took all the money out of the bank account and drained it, hadn't made a mortgage payment, they almost lost the house? Like, I could imagine some divorces are happening.
Action-packed show tonight. We have a special guest in the house as well.
Uh-oh.
And we are super duper excited about having Space Force Chuck in the house.
There's a difference between having it, like if you find out secretly they voted for a different person or something. But if you spent years trying to convince them that they're living in the same reality you're living in, I mean, you either need to have them they need some type of help, or I couldn't stay in that. Like if Mariah had spent the last 3 years trying to live in an alternate reality, donating money that we didn't have, telling me that we're all going to get it back on Nasara Gasara, waiting on a med bed instead of taking medical treatment, shit like that, there's no way. There's no way. It looks like he comes on in just a second with Punisher Dallas, mychronicsilver.net, code Dallas. Got to squeeze in those ad dollars, don't we?
Men's, I don't know what we call it now, but it's me talked about what
we'll be getting to that. I want to first bring in our guest who has been serving our country for the last 17 years, probably going on the 18th year. Space Force Chuck, but a lot of people obviously know him as Chuck Riffin. Chuck's in the house. How you doing, Chuck?
Hey,
thanks, Ruffin.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Sorry if my internet's a little laggy. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, I'm not quite sure it was working great yesterday.
Well, when you start coming over here, and it's amazing to me how certain things happen that try to prohibit or stop a broadcast from taking place. I think we had a pretty good idea how that works. But Chuck, I want to give you the floor because I know that you've got probably about 30 minutes, give or take, being on with us with your busy schedule. But
it sucks to be called crazy. I know I'm labeled crazy. It sucks, but
our audience, tell us, a little bit about yourself. We're very informal here. I would love the audience to know. Some of them obviously are saying, "Yeah, this dude's killer. I've seen this video on Rumble," and that's actually how I connected with you. I saw a video on Rumble, and I finally tracked you down like a stalker on Instagram, okay, and trying to find you through several different profiles. But finally, we connected, and come to find out, the Rumble channel that your video was on was not even your Rumble channel because it's gotten shared and copied and and things of that nature. But Chuck, I'm going to give you the floor. Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Yeah, sure. I am active duty, and so just like small disclaimer, like I'm just on here as myself, as Chuck Ruffin and Space Force Chuck. Like, so any comments that come out of me is not like attributed to or the opinions of the Space Force. So it's just one of those like comments I got to put out there whenever I'm doing these broadcasts. Because I am deliberately trying to become a digital ambassador for the Space Force, and that includes me kind of teaching people and educating about the Space Force and giving people a good platform, but also cover a lot of different other topics. But just a little background on me. You did mention I'm going on 18 years, so this May will be my 18th anniversary, which is believe it or not, like every time I say that out loud, I don't really believe that I've served for that long. I've started out in the Air Force and been to
I agree. Like if you really love somebody, obviously you try to be patient, you try to walk them back out of it. But I mean, everybody's got a limit, right? And it's hard to know what that person's limit is. They might tell you, like, I'd never leave you. I'd keep telling you, no, this is reality, and you please don't send no more money, and blah. But everybody has a limit, and until they're put in that situation, it's hard to say what that limit is. And it would depend on how bad. Like, were you donating money? Were you going to events? Were you constantly telling other people? Had you pushed the rest of your family or my family away because they didn't believe you? And were you pushing me away because I didn't believe you? It has a bunch of nuance to it.
Deployed overseas 3 different times during that time, and then I got my commission in 2016, where I became a space operations officer. And then, of course, the Space Force stood up a few years later. And as part of the Space Force, beginning, I was a part of the core career fields that transferred over to the service once we were activated. So that's just a little bit about me. I don't know how much more detail you want me to go into, but that's a quick down and dirty, I think.
Well, I know in the chats are saying, hey, when is Quantum connecting with Starlink since you're in the Space Force? And I know you get that all the time. And
yeah, you wouldn't believe the amount of comments or questions I get. It's pretty interesting to see what people are actually curious about.
I know a lot of people have their own idea, perhaps, of what actually Space Force is.
Sure, yeah.
You obviously, because you live it, you're doing it. What exactly is Space Force?
The chat's not going to like this, by the way.
From someone that's here yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Space Force, as I mentioned, is basically we are the branch of military that belongs to or under, if you will, the Department of the Air Force. Similar to how the Navy and the Marine Corps fall underneath the Department of the Navy, the Space Force is a branch of service that's within the Department of the Air Force. So much like the Air Force got its roots from the Army, we got our roots from the Air Force. And
that's right.
What we do is organize, train, and equip guardians, which are responsible for basically conducting, managing the free and utilization of space that's in and through the use of space, ensuring that we are protecting that domain from any adversary that may pose a threat within that domain or operating in that domain. Because to be quite frank, the United States heavily relies on the space domain as part of its critical infrastructure to support your everyday way of life. The biggest example that I usually give is GPS, for instance. Everybody relies on navigation to get to and from their destinations, but it does a lot more than just navigate to your local favorite restaurant. Precision navigation and timing includes your ability to purchase goods at a grocery store because of the timing that you get from the receipt and that bank transaction hits the banking system.
That's right.
It includes your ability to pull money from an ATM. It includes your ability to
Space Force soldiers are called guardians.
Fly aircraft all around the world or even navigate across the seas. So GPS is a critical portion of our infrastructure and our everyday way of life, and your guardians work 24/7 to essentially manage, maintain the command and control of those GPS satellites.
Well, I have a question, Chuck, because I think this is things that we talk about on the show. These are questions that a lot of viewers have. So a Space Force is, as you say, is a guardian, and
Yes.
kind of overwatch as to what happens in terms of our protection. And that's internally. What about protecting us from forces outside of our sphere called Earth?
So you're talking like extraterrestrials. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what
Oh, no.
So, I mean, as part of our core, we don't necessarily dabble in like the extraterrestrial realm. At least from my experience, I have not seen or heard anything. We primarily focus on more like terrestrial-based and space-based assets that the DoD cares about. Our environment is pretty fluid. We also operate in the electromagnetic spectrum as well. That's how we are able to utilize satellite communications to be able to communicate from the ground sites to satellites. That data pathway is incredibly important. So the other side of the realm where it's super sci-fi, I don't know, like if there was something that came around and it was, a danger to society, I don't know if the Space Force would be the ones that would be called to protect, because, we don't really have like armed units, really, but.
What about armed satellites?
They don't have weapons. Like they're not gonna be there to fight. They don't have armed units.
No,
It's tech. It's tech.
with legally, we're not allowed to weaponize space for any use of that. That's
Nobody is. That is a rule that treaties that have been signed. Nobody can weaponize orbiting space equipment. Right. That's why the rods of God is stupid. That's why space lasers are stupid. They're just, if we're doing it, then it's covertly, and you can guarantee one of the other countries that signed the treaty that can put shit in space would do it too and call us out.
That's a formalized treaty that is across basically international waves. There's no weaponization of space, and we don't genuinely allow that as well. And our international partners and friends, they believe in the same thing. It's like, understanding that there's real sanctity in the freedom and use of space.
People are already getting mad. People are already getting mad in chat. I guarantee the live chat doesn't replay, but
Aspect of our ability.
I know they're mad. Oh, wait. Let's read some of these. This guy is Deep State. The first one, Deep State Chuck. That's what I'm going to start calling him. And he's lying? I believe so. He just lost me with the Biden being CIC. He needs to read the executive orders and listen to Derek Johnson. Debunking Derek Johnson is how he became to know. Everyone does a lie about who is CIC. He is one of those people. Sorry, but I believe Derek Johnson over this guy any day because you want to. There's no facts. There's no proof. There's no evidence. I would love to see the Space Force guy and Derek Johnson to get together on panel. Never will you ever. I've tried and tried and tried. This is info sucks. This is info sucks. Plain and simple. Sounds like a black hat infiltration. Sorry, I call bullshit on this dude. How many jabs has he taken? I think he is FOS. Why has Biden never mentioned Space Force? He has. He's mentioned them in speeches. He appointed the new director, under secretary general, some another. Does Chuck take orders from a fake president or the real commander in chief? He's full of shit. The Earth is flat. Show us a video from Earth's rotation. Next time, please get a credible guess. Full of shit. Get this guy off. Nope, he's lying through his teeth. Maybe he has to, or maybe he is just that dumb. I give him 10 Pinocchios. Show me this guy's credentials. QQQ Chuck, do you work for Trump or Biden? Oh, God.
So in terms of the technology, we would have to assume it's running at a very, very high advanced level. So
I mean, not really. I mean, a lot of the technology that we...
All right, hold on just a second. We had a dono clip that I had to be checked first, but it's good. Here's Dreamweaver.
Phil, top of the morning to you, lad. Show him the birthright to St. Michael's golden dick. Mole, mole.
Stand firm, lass. Show him the birthright.
Phil, top of the morning to you, lad. Stand firm. Show him the birthright to St. Michael's golden dick. Mole, mole.
Very good, Dreamweaver. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Currently utilize, originated from, decades ago. Like, you can consider earliest satellite communications, as early as the 50s. And, that's just utilizing regular wavelengths to be able to send a signal to space and back. It operates on the same spectrum. There might be different frequency ranges within that spectrum, but generally that's kind of where we at. We operate in that spectrum based on different frequencies. And of course, onboard systems have now improved in capability or the ability to transmit data, as well as like large amounts of data. Old history, like satellites used to drop film down to the Earth, and we used to capture it by C-130s. Now we're sending it via satellite, just by data pathways. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely improved over time.
So in terms of being, I guess I would liken it to an internet firewall as Guardians. What roles or capabilities are there in terms of being able to intercept threats? And
Punisher Dallas had to leave. He's like, this guy's so deep state, I'm out of here. I'm going to go punish somebody.
Typically.
Great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So within the Space Force, we do have different Space Force careers.
They say, I want a qualified guest. Bring me Wayne Willett. That's right.
Cyber professionals. So they do manage and maintain, or at least like keep an eye on our terrestrial base and our space-based systems. The cyber warfighters are critical to enabling.
He said terrestrial. He's talking about aliens.
Our operations, and defending against any adversary intrusions. The specifics, of course, just like your standard firewalls and defense mechanisms, those are all in place that the DoD uses as well. Some things are going to be a little bit more advanced and a little more.
Oh yeah, Dallas is a big RV guy.
warfighters are trained to look.
You're right, Texas trumpet.
Within that domain, and then of course, defend the architecture as we need to. But our cyber professionals.
I want to see what the robot says. Hold on.
Smitty2182 says, "Punish his brown starfish, LOL."
Punish his brown starfish, LOL.
Are the best in the world.
No, we just had several intrusions over the United States, over our airspace with balloons that were believed to be doing all kinds of potential data and video
nefarious
capture
activities.
Yeah. So what would be Space Force's role in being able to intervene or monitor, or what does that scenario look like?
So I mean, for the regular,
probably more Air Force,
we would just be tracking, right, and just ensuring that we have some type of method of tracking that, and that goes for mostly like on really any branch of service really to keep track of it. The Air Force obviously knew where it was, and our government was paying close attention to its activities and ensuring that it wasn't going to endanger the population. I think that was the biggest concern, was whether or not it was going to be a threat to like the population on the ground. So when it comes to a process of like that, like determining where its origin is from and determining where it's going to go, it's not like a quick decision. It takes time. There's also strategy behind the reason why we make certain decisions. Of course, me as a guy that's in my organization now, I'm not as close to the ops, so I don't really see like all of the ins and outs of what took place to make the decisions that they did. Right. But I mean, yeah, just like the Department of Defense, that's its role, is to ensure the safety of American citizens and to protect and defend. And it honestly was just a balloon, so whatever threat it was causing, we handled it within reason, of course. So I know a lot of people didn't think so, and a lot of people were like, hey, it's just a balloon. But differing opinions, there's always a justifiable reason for why we make those decisions. So
is this a question I might ask Mike?
Oh God, here we go.
But the chats are lighting up, and I promise.
Yeah, I mean, like Chuck, it really is with the Air Force. He's not going to come out and say something fucking crazy. He's not going to come out and pull a Derek Johnson. He's not going to come out and say something ridiculous. I mean, he's with the Air Force. He has to have his own opinions. They can't be tied back to the Air Force. Now, Derek Johnson will tell you he's not even allowed to speak. He's under an NDA, that he's violating his oath, that he's allowed to speak of his own person, of his own volition. He can't represent the Space Force, but he can talk about his experiences, his times there, as it's not classified, or he's trying to say, I'm speaking for the Space Force. Like, this is the Space Force official stance.
Down, I would ask this question. Chuck, do you believe the world is round, the earth is round?
Yes, I do.
Okay, which one? Just check it.
That the earth is round, or that the world is round, or
or flat. Is earth flat or round?
It's not flat. And I know that it's really hard for me to like speak through, but generally like the physics and the laws that we operate with our capabilities and satellites and having orbits around the earth.
Basically, everything that goes in the air operates on the premise that the earth is round, that it's a ball. If it didn't, shit would be falling out of the air and crashing into each other. Like, it wouldn't work.
None of that would be possible if the earth was flat. There are various magnetic fields that are surrounding the earth or emanating from the earth. The physics that are applied, at the geobelt, those physics require the earth to be round and allowing us to operate in certain orbits and have large constellations of satellites. So plus, firsthand experience operating on some systems, we look down at the earth quite a bit, and we, navigate around the earth from the North Pole to the South Pole, and we understand when those satellites rise and set based on telemetry and commanding, and our ability to send communications to those satellites.
Oh no.
Safety and health are ensured. So there's a lot of laws and physics
Ramesh
go into it. And I know that there's probably going to be some folks out there that are like, oh no, it's definitely flat because I have all these reasons why X, Y, and Z, but I get it all the time. Don't worry about it. It doesn't bother me, and I'll be glad to continue having conversations.
Chuck, when was the last time you were in Antarctica, and how was it?
I've never been to Antarctica.
Have you ever seen anything shot from Antarctica? Have you had any dealings at all with Antarctica? Okay.
No.
I'm just figured to ask because they're wearing me out over here.
Yeah,
not even a Stargate?
Yeah, Antarctica and the ice wall comes up quite a bit in my TikTok comments.
Yes.
Have you seen the ice wall? And then I get the treaty, of course, about the community there. And, there's a lot of various topics I get about Antarctica.
Firmament, probably.
Yep, I get the firmament quite a bit too.
What's your thought process on that?
So I'm a Christian, and I actually just had my entire family baptized about 2 weeks ago. All of us got baptized on the same day.
Awesome.
So I understand what it says in Genesis, and I understand there's a lot of believers of the firmament. So I promise you, there's no offense to that. Like, please don't take my comments the wrong way. But the understanding of the firmament is that you have a physical self, and everything that we see on this plane, or our ability to interpret life as we see it. We have an atmosphere, and then there's space beyond that. The way I look at the firmament is that when you cross over and when your time comes, your spiritual self then crosses into the heavens, which, is that layer between us and the.
That's what I always thought it was. It literally says it separates the heavens. So if you're going to have a biblical interpretation, you can't shoot yourself in a rocket and go to heaven, right? Like, I don't think most Christians would believe that. So there's some type of veil that separates the heavens from the earth. If you want to take a Christian stance on it, it doesn't separate space. Well, I don't know why people think space is in heaven or heaven is in space.
The heavens. So that's
also for someone called out Phil in his own chat and said, hey, Phil, here's something to ponder on. Basically, if your flat earth theory is right, then everyone who's ever looked through a fucking telescope and seen a planet, I have probably more than I could count on both hands, right? More than 10 times. Looked out and seen a planet, watched it orbit, seen crazy fucking gas clouds and shit on planets with high-powered telescopes. All of those people are fucking liars, and they're keeping this ruse up. Every amateur that has a telescope is keeping the ruse up that the Earth is technically flat and planets don't exist.
That's just been my way to process it, at least just because I've operated systems that work in space. I've met astronauts who've been to space. I've met astronauts who've been on the International Space Station and have been up there for 200 plus days. I've seen their physical photographs of the Earth from their personal devices. So, I understand the firmament is written in Scripture, and that belief can certainly be valid for sure, because it is a boundary between us and the heavens. Our physical selves may not be able to cross into it, but our spiritual selves, depending on the way you live your life, will cross into a different area of the heavens. So.
Hold on. Ramesh is back. Ramesh, he must have got the fender bender taken care of.
Will Bird, this is Ramesh. How dare you make fun of my mole mittens, my mole socks, and my mole earmuffs?
Mole mittens, mole socks, and mole earmuffs for Ramesh. Got a lot of mole gear on. Keeps him safe, I imagine. Thank you very much, Ramesh.
Hopefully that was understandable and I didn't ramble.
Oh, no, not at all.
We're just setting you up for Punisher Dallas, okay? Because
yeah,
he's back there in the corner, just writing all this stuff down, saying, "Okay, we're
He's
ready."
like, "Man, I never thought about that." That's actually kind of a pretty interesting way of interpreting that.
No, it's so interesting, and I guess that's what adds to the frustration, right? Is you have.
So I have a friend who went to school forever. Ended up working partly for NASA, but really as a contractor that ended up starting this spin-off company. They predict the weather on Mars. They predict the weather on Mars. And Phil's running around, and they can predict when these windstorms are going to come up, the sandstorms, what the weather's going to do. They have electrical storms there. They predict all that for mission planning. And someone's going to say the planet doesn't exist. What the fuck do they do then? What are you trying to, what do they sit around and do all the time?
These different theories and philosophies. And you have people that swear up and down. If you say the world isn't flat, you're an idiot. And there's so much, it's like.
And what's crazy is it used to be completely opposite. 10 years ago, no one was running around saying the world was flat because they would be called an idiot. But we've let these people get away with it.
Have I ever been in outer space? No. Have I ever been at high altitudes? I've flown in jets, right?
Yeah.
So I've been 30,000, 35, 40,000 feet. But there's such good, compelling information and what seems to be facts and statistics on both sides. It just makes it really challenging, right? And I think the flat Earth is like JFK Jr. being alive, right? It's one of those things that we tend to pick on and we tend to jump on when there's no way we can prove either way, right? There are ways, but it's one of those things that people just get really polarized on.
Yeah.
And,
there is a way that you can prove the Earth is round. There are many ways. You can do this. You can take 2 yardsticks and just walk and prove it. Or you don't even have to walk. Put 1 yardstick in one place, 1 yardstick in the other place, and call a friend at the other yardstick.
In my world, my decision is still up in the air. Yeah. I don't know until I get a chance to go to outer space and I can physically look at the Earth. And, it's weird to me that you can be at 40,000 feet and look out at the horizon and it's flat. It's weird to me that we can't fly or we don't fly in straight lines from the East Coast to Europe and from the West Coast to Japan. We go way up into, Iceland or Greenland, and then we come down and we do the same thing on the southern hemispheres. I can't really explain why that is, right? That doesn't rationally, that doesn't make sense to me. What do you say to those, right? Because that's
jet streams
to me where I went, okay, maybe the earth is flat. That doesn't make sense, right? What do you say to that?
When it comes to like air traffic or the reason why we fly certain routes, or
yeah, like the reason we don't fly straight intercontinental, right? I mean, it's we go way up north to Iceland or Greenland, and then you go over to or you go down south and you go up. There's very few and very rare flights that just go straight. And then there's the whole thing about
there are tons of flights that go in a straight line. I think these people don't understand the way the system is set up to show an arc, and they don't understand jet streams. Like here's an image of, these are eastbound and westbound. Open image in a new tab. I'll just zoom in for you. But like here is an image. Researchers mapped 90 flights to find the most optimal flight path. Okay, and here, look how solid. These are 90 individual flights. See one individual flight down here where the cursor is, 2 tangled together up here. Look how solid, basic, almost a straight line is. Like it curves a little bit. We're probably catching good air there or a jet stream over there. But like, it's not like we're going to Greenland or Iceland or wherever the fuck you claim we're going. Like, that's pretty much a straight fucking line from JFK to LHR. If you look at the westbound coming back, they have a little bit bigger of an arc, and they're probably avoiding the same jet stream that someone else is catching, right? They're going up and around. See the difference in the two? See how it bends up higher? One is basically almost all below this straight arc. One of them is almost all above this straight arc. Jesus Christ. These people.
The Arctic, Antarctica, right? Why the secrecy? Why why the treaty?
It's not secret. It was a piece of land found after everybody had claimed their land, and we were no longer doing imperialism and this and that. And they decided it was going to be important for scientific research because of the stuff that's frozen in the ice there. So no one can go down there and just say, okay, this is Russia now, and we're going to put a McDonald's here and burn down most of the ice.
There's one thing on the entire planet that all the countries agreed to, and it was like, don't go to the snowy place. Like that's weird to me.
The way I go, so I'll touch on the Antarctica piece first, and that's probably the one conversation I get brought up all the time, is that Antarctica, believe it or not, is not necessarily habitable. It doesn't have plentiful natural resources. The amount of logistics and resources it takes to get humans to that portion of the Earth is pretty extensive. And so to send an entire population to a portion of the world that doesn't have the easiest method of communication.
Here's what it says. Starting at JFK, the airport will put all planes at a latitude of about 40 degrees north at first. But the ensuing flight can follow a minimum time route that reaches nearly 55 degrees midway through that trip, or one that goes as high as 51 degrees as its endpoint, and there's a multitude of routes in between. So that literally gives them the minimum time route when we're looking at the winds. Now, if we open this image, it shows prevailing winds. So clearly there is a whip of a jet stream here, and then there's coastal streams, airstreams here. So as they're going up, they're actually flying like angular to the wind. The wind is trying to go down the coast. But over here, they catch they hit some dead air here, almost stable air. Then they catch some wind here that pushes them all the way in. And it says, using data from this paper published recently to the journal Environmental Research Letters, Williams plotted at the eastbound path of the transatlantic flight from JFK Airport in New York to Heathrow Airport in London. That's London Heathrow, if you didn't know, LHR. Obviously, they're catching this wind. They don't understand how land masses and how the sun hitting different parts of the land masses and the time of year all affects the fucking wind, the prevailing wind. These people are idiots.
There's not many facilities down there that can survive technologically in those harsh conditions for long periods of time. And so that there are, flights in and out of there for science and research and, whatever goes out there. I'm not a huge, I don't follow what goes out there. That's not really my role or my scope. But just generally, when it comes to satellite communications, we don't have a method really to continue communications at that portion of the world just because of where it's at. To manage and maintain sites or facilities down there would be an incredible feat. just based on cost.
Oh, wait a second. Here's even, sorry, I keep finding stuff. Here's even how the flight pattern changes based on the winds. See the winds changing and the flight pattern they're putting them on to get the shortest flight time? You can literally see the winds changing and the different flight patterns that they would have the planes on to get there in the shortest amount of time, burning the least amount of fuel. I don't know why they show you if you fly from New York to London, you go through Antarctica or through fucking Iceland or Greenland or whatever. They don't. These are the flight paths right here. Depending on the winds. We don't go in a straight line. The quickest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
And manpower and resources. So that's the way I look at Antarctica, and the reason why we don't really get a good focus on a population that's there, or the reason why multiple countries come together. It's not a habitable region, and we just made it a sharing agreement. Hey, if you can get here and you want to conduct science, go ahead. Like, we're not claiming territories here. For the other piece with air traffic routes are generally determined based on fuel capabilities of aircraft, as well as your ability to get to a primary and most likely an alternate landing area. So generally, whenever the FAA regulates the airspace, and during your flight plans, you pick routes that are going to give you multiple options for primary and alternate landing areas. So flying over large bodies of water doesn't necessarily give you that, but flying VFR direct to larger portions of land, to where you can, if you do need to have an emergency, you have a better chance staying closer to land logistically for any rescue operations than you do flying directly across large bodies of water where you're hundreds of miles away from a coastline. As well as when it comes to you finding an aircraft that's downed in the sea, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack at that point. So a lot of those considerations play into the reason why air traffic routes are the way they are. And that just really comes down to hey, what's our ability to get after or go save anybody if an aircraft goes.
I hope these Q-flu fools know how to stop, drop, and roll when their ass burst into divine flames for all their bullshit. Ain't that the truth? Got to be striking them down.
I have a question for you about the border. So the space.
Some top questions, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And this is fantastic that you're on here, because when you're talking about Space Force, I mean, we're thinking about outer space, space travel, time travel, portals, all this kind of stuff. And I think a lot of us will go somewhere.
VFR is visual. When he said VFR direct, VFR is visual flight rules. When you find your own routes without reliance on navigation aids, right? You're flying visual flight. You're not flying equipment or instrumentation.
With that, just because there's just a lack of understanding or information. Yeah. But specifically in terms of the border situation, because it's our understanding that there's numerous groups of military-age men that are coming across with cell phones, wads of cash, and that there's cells basically that are being activated, causing a lot of problems within the U.S. and they're doing this in other countries as well. Is there the capability?
IFR would be instrumentation flight.
To be able to track and monitor these groups.
Instrument flight. Yeah, instrument flight.
I wouldn't say I guess directly. So it's kind of like, let's say you have.
No, someone said, "Will, if the Earth was flat, wouldn't the sun?" No, they say the sun's really small and it's so far away you can't see it, so it's just over a small portion of. But they can explain the sun moves at the same pace in the sky everywhere in the world. It moves at the same speed. If their theory was right and the sun was really small and it moves differently, right, around the Earth, it only shines straight down, basically, is what they're saying, then the further from the center, which would be the North Pole it got, it would have to be moving much faster to still have 24 hours in a day. It would have to be moving like 3 times the speed it does when it's up close to the center.
People that you're interested in tracking, right? Or
someone, for instance.
Or there are some things that are easier to track than others, right? GPS navigation or GPS tracking systems on board aircraft. That's all managed and maintained by some type of organization.
Are you sure you're not a pilot? Absolutely not. I'm just like an aviation nerd. I like RC stuff. I wish I could get my private pilot's license. I just don't have the money to fucking put into it. I always wanted to fly, like not in the military, but like after I got at least like a Cessna or something. I think it'd be fun. I like RC stuff. That's it.
Anything within the United States, there are executive orders and laws that prohibit intelligence collection on anything within the United States, and that is written in law. That is written in executive orders. We cannot utilize our ISR collection capabilities against.
That's right. We collect data on foreign entities. There are groups that are specifically allowed only under certain circumstances, like a search warrant, to collect data, specific data. They can collect anonymous data, but specific data on U.S. citizens.
Our own citizens or within the borders. Now, Department of Homeland Security, FBI, those types of organizations, they have their own different executive orders and laws and capabilities that are available to them. Of course, things that are coming across the border, there's resources down there, right, that are day in and day out trying to tackle that problem. Some years are better than others, but it's a trial-some situation. The whole establishment of the United States, I was born overseas, and my dad was in the service for 20 years. And all I've known growing up is that the United States has always been a place where you want to come to because we have rights and freedoms that most other countries don't. But that also comes with a risk as well, and which is really great that we have the world's best Department of Defense with the greatest military branches in the world, as well as some very intense government professionals that try to protect us day in and day out. So there's mechanisms of keeping a close eye on the bad guy. Right?
Been a pilot since 1984. That's cool. I think it would be really fun. I don't know if I could ever get like commercial rating and shit. Like I'm old and I don't know what the fuck I would do, but I have it's not really my uncle because it's through a brother-in-law, but it's his uncle that learned to fly in the Air Force. And then once he finished whatever his commitment was, because it's long if the military teaches you how to fly, it's not just like a 4-year commitment. He was in there for a while. And then he was basically recruited straight out of that for FedEx, flying cargo, not passengers, but cargo. He makes a killing. He's one of the only like couple pilots that's like rated to land at some crazy little airport, blah, blah, blah. Like, man, he makes a killing flying around. I guess, I don't know if it would get old like every other job. Like people tell you, like, it doesn't matter what you do. It gets, you get tired of seeing it, you get tired of this, you get tired of that. But I don't know. I think it'd be fun.
Discovery, it takes resources. It takes all kinds of capabilities to get us to where we can do that. So
I got a quick question for you, Chuck. What is, again...
There you go. Somebody explains it. The jet stream changes altitude and latitude throughout the day. So in order to take advantage of a favorable tailwind, the routes adjust to be in that favorable jet stream. Twice a day, the FAA and airlines talk to publish the daily routes. One route in the morning will probably not be the same route in the evening. There you go. I fly those routes, so I know. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I would assume that just the temperature change from it heating up all day, it being cool in the morning, because the coolest part of the day is right before the sun comes up. That's the coldest part of the day, and you'll know if you've ever been to the field of the Army. Right before the sun comes up is literally the coldest fucking part of the day. And then it heats up all day. I would imagine that the wind and shit changes. The jet stream shifts. Just like when you're watching, when they predict weather across the United States. So as weather moves, it'd be like moving one way, then it'll almost take like a shift, like an S turn throughout the day.
On why we have not gone to the moon as much, even at all.
I do it as a hobby. Now that I think I could do. I've actually even seen some ultralights here for sale. I looked at one ultralight one time on Facebook, and now it keeps recommending all these, smaller planes and ultralights, even fucking like paragliders and shit keep getting recommended to me on Facebook. It wants me to buy one.
Whatever. Yeah. And number two question is, how come the moon supposedly is not colonized with any stations, with anything set up?
Sure. So the moon is several 100,000 miles away. It's not as easy as just a few hundred or 20.
Oh, here's something you don't know. On your textbooks, so like when you went to school, they show the moon and the earth on the same page, right? They show the moon and the earth on the same page. They have to fit them on the same page. It shows the earth and it shows the moon right here on the corner of the page, the earth down here and the moon right there. If you opened a standard notebook, a standard sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11 or whatever, and the moon was in the center, centered in that page, and was half the width of the page. Okay, so it'd be a 4-inch Earth on an 8.5 or a 4 1/4 inch Earth. The moon would not be on the same page. It's so far away, it would be 4 pages over. But on your textbook, you're like, oh, there's the Earth, there's the moon. So people think they're like super close. You always see the Earth and the moon when you're talking about the moon, right? but it's nowhere near as close as people think it is.
So during the, I guess, NASA timeframe when it was first,
I'm sure it's peaceful up there, Moriarty.
quite a bit.
Somebody told me one time if I come out or something, they'd put me in their plane just to go up and hang out and check it out. I've flown in like small planes to skydive, I guess, but that was about it.
We got our science that we needed to from that during that generation, and ever since then, traveling to the moon just wasn't in the best interest of funding for the government for a really long time.
I've never been like where someone's like, hey, you want to go check this out? You want to go over there? Or look at that? You want to go get closer?
Like, that would be cool, I think.
Within the past, I would say now it's going on 3-4 years, we started funding a program called the Artemis program that is developing and designing the SLS rocket to take us back to the moon. The first launch of the SLS was just a few months ago, and that was just to test the rocket system and send the Orion capsule around the moon just to see, if basically testing out the capability before we put humans on board. Like I said, the physics and the technology and a lot of the capabilities that come along with that, especially the fuel costs and consumption, those are all huge concerns. It costs lots of American dollars, so
tons of money.
Justify those expenses, takes a long way. But now, we're.
By the way, when another common misconception, I think that's been cleared up several times, is when people say we lost the capability to go to the moon. Yes and no. Okay, we did lose some data with some data about going to the moon, but a lot of the stuff that was lost technology wise with going to the moon, not data wise, but like pieces and parts and how it was all handcrafted, one-off shit that they tweaked and turned and died with the people who made it. There was so much craftsmanship because not as much stuff was factory made, especially parts like that. We didn't have gigantic space parts factories. They were tweaked and tuned and adjusted on right after a test stand run or a test launch. And a lot of those engineers died with that knowledge. It's not like they wrote it down or it was like we took a half a gram off here or we sharpened this 2 degrees or blunted this down. They took that shit with them to the grave. So a lot of that shit was lost in that way.
We're looking at trying to explore space even further and going out to Mars. Like we've sent
in Alaska. Oh yeah, that would be fun.
We've got rovers on Mars. So what do we require in order to get us there easier? And our ability to travel to the moon will help develop the science it will take to get us to Mars eventually.
It sounds like we need to reallocate all the money we're giving to Ukraine.
That's right, Dreamweaver.
I don't deal with government budget, and that's not my
right on.
That's not my forte. I don't sign those checks. That's not my. Well,
let me ask you a question. Who do you believe really signs the checks? Who, in your personal opinion, I know some probably sound crazy. Probably not, because you're probably used to this. Who, in your personal opinion, is the commander in chief right now?
Definitely President Biden. He is the commander in chief.
Oh, they just lost their fuck. He says why? This motherfucker said why? Who, in your personal opinion, is the commander in chief? The fucking sitting president. Why?
I've said that before.
Oh shit. Why? Why
do you feel that way?
Oh, something started playing in the background.
That way. It is the fact. I understand.
They just lost their shit, dude.
The elections and. That we all saw the news and the media and, the outcome. And of course, the former president, also did not like the outcome of it. And that's, they did their inspection or investigations and they've got the lawsuits going and all the things. But according to the way the government structure is, President Biden was inaugurated. He is established as the president and the commander in chief. And he currently holds that position. The entire DOD recognizes it. The entire government recognizes President Biden. And, his pictures are on our walls everywhere. So.
We're about to break the record tonight. Just want to tell you.
that was going to be my question, Chuck, because we have lots of members and some I talk to that are also members of Space Force, and like I sent them on a goose chase. Is Biden's picture up on the wall? Because in Washington D.C.,
I was in the military during a presidential change. It took us almost 2 years to get the official portrait. People, it wasn't like we were ignoring it or like it was sitting on a desk somewhere. First of all, it has to be taken. Second of all, it has to be sent out. Third of all, think of all the places, every building on every Army installation, every building on every VA installation, every fucking building on every DOD installation. Like, there's a lot of places it has to go to. It has to process. It has to get out there. It took 2 years to get the new picture of the commander in chief put up on our wall. Now, it was empty for a long time. It didn't have the former president in it. It just empty, and it said the name below it. But we finally got the official picture. Where was I at when that happened? I can't even remember, but we finally got it. I remember seeing it and being like, that's new.
In the congressional record, Biden's picture is not up in D.C. It still shows Trump.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of the congressional record. And
yeah, and
so,
there's members on our platform that work, in whole, all different levels of the military that like Biden's picture is not up in on every base and in every regiment. And that's, if he's up on your base, then that says something. But there's definitely, it feels like there's a split or a question of validity.
Yeah.
My wife has sent so many pictures from the regional VA. Yeah, it's finally at our VA too. Regional VA and outpatient clinics always takes the time. Yeah, Biden's up at our VA too.
I can understand that. Here, I'll show you. Like, this is not a picture up on the wall, but I don't know if it'll come through or not. But those are challenge coins.
Can't really see it.
I don't know if you can see it or not, but
oh, there it is.
Yes, I can see the.
Yeah, sorry, the background's like blurring it out. I'll shoot it to you later, or I'll shoot it to you in text, Chaz, if you want to see it.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that now. I can put it up on screen.
But ultimately, that's just one showing of like, hey, that President Biden is recognized everywhere, and we do have his photo up on the wall. I hear it a lot about like, hey, it's not even showing up in the Capitol, and you got to understand that there were a lot of budget constraints for a while too that didn't allow us to proceed with making certain purchases during the pandemic region and in DC, and a lot of those resources were reallocated. Even standing up a new branch of military costs a lot of money. But those types of things take several logistics to get stuff taken care of. And I'll give you an example. Like I was here working in my organization, and you go through a whole process called a POM, and you have to put in your bid basically on how much things are going to cost X, Y, and Z. And
that's right.
Takes all year long for the fiscal year. And then you have to get that budget approved, and then you got to find a contract to get those products purchased and disseminated or even updated. Some resources like media centers and things are available to where stuff like that should be updated pretty quickly, but not every DoD installation operates on the same pace. They operate on the same pace of like what is available to them funding wise, and what resources that they have given to them. So it's a unique situation to hear that over and over, like, hey, the pictures aren't up on the wall. It's got to be an indication. Promise you, it's most likely an oversight, or somebody's working on it behind the scenes, or maybe the person that was in charge of updating it, didn't do it anymore or whatnot. Like that's just how that goes sometimes.
I got this up on the screen here.
Yeah.
It says Challenge Coin Company LLC. They'll tell me a little bit. What is this exactly?
So these are challenge coins that are sold through our like military clothing sales. You can purchase these in the military,
and they're given out by a ton of people, depending on who they are, and those are their presidential challenge coins.
For gifts and stuff.
Okay, gotcha. What if I told you that we've got reason to believe that number one, Biden has been dead. Number two, his actors playing his place. I mean, people, I know people will maybe scoff or laugh about it, but every time we see this character on TV or mainstream media, it looks like a totally different person.
Yeah,
everyone's different. Everything is different.
He looks like a different person.
Differences.
I've heard and I've seen.
People don't understand camera lenses. Like, we've had photographers explain it. We've pulled up examples. Like, it can literally make you look like you have a round face with like your ears fucking stuck out all the way back to where you can't see your fucking ears. Facelifts. It's called pixie ear. Google it. Pixie ear is a condition associated with a facelift where your earlobes go from unattached to attached because they tightened your skin and they didn't fix your. It's actually a deformation, like it's something wrong. It's a negative side effect. That's not supposed to happen, but it does in some people, and it's hard to tell because when you have a facelift or your skin stretched and tightened and shit, you're swollen. They just drew a dotted line and started doing it. They're trying their best. It's not something that's easy to catch, and it happens in about 30% of all facelifts.
The photos, and I've seen the videos, and I've seen all the comments and the descriptions of like, hey, this guy looks different than this other guy. And I'll give you some kind of formality of like seeing that stuff coming from the internet is really challenging to justify as proof data. And the reason I say that is because coming from my cybersecurity background and studying artificial intelligence and big data analytics, you can manipulate anything you see on the internet. You can take my sound and my videos and redub whatever I'm saying to you right now and recreate a video making me saying something completely different. And we don't control everything on the internet, so the sources of information could be coming from foreign intervention, but looking like legitimate resources. So photographs that could be potentially altered, even from years ago, those photographs could be altered to make it look like it's different to feed an agenda, or to feed a narrative that is trending or ongoing. And that type of information is very challenging to justify as like factual data. And when it comes to like knowing who President Biden is and being around him every single day, and being the politicians, like that would be where I would get my proof data. Like, hey, I know these people work with him. So
I got you. And so, have you met Biden yourself by chance, or had the opportunity to be around him, or Harris at all?
no, not me personally, no.
Okay, but you know somebody that has. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have a really good friend who is the Space Force aide for the current administration, and they are around quite often.
Okay. Let's see here. I think people are having meltdowns in the chat.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. I get the meltdowns all the time, and I'll probably get the messages too. I usually get a bunch of them.
No, you're good, man. So I want to show you something, and I want to get your personal opinion. Okay, this is Chuck's opinion. Okay, nothing else. I'm gonna pull this up on the screen, and again, this is what was out there. I just screenshotted this. Tell me.
Yeah, I've seen these pictures too.
Yeah. So, got a question. Do you think that's Harris? I call it camel toe. I know you probably can't call it that, but I can. No. But tell me, what's your thoughts on this? Seeing something like this that was on Fox, it was live, it was a screenshot. I mean, if you look in the neck area.
Yeah, I mean that's to be honest, like it's a photograph, right? And it could be a number of reasons as to why it looks like that. Not everybody looks perfect on TV. And there's always distortion, or there's always some kind of anomaly that takes place. You
every
see it all
single
the
time.
time. So
every single time.
I don't know. I don't look closely at the people and their body and their features. That's just not my scope. I don't look at those things and start peeling back the layers. And I know that the vice president is the vice president, and I know that the president is the president. So
if they judged everybody, I don't know if they know this, but between seasons 1 and seasons 2 of the well-known documentary Family Matters, starring Steve Urkel, the mom changed. Between seasons 3 and seasons 4 of the well-known documentary The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the mom changed to a different person. And everybody acts like, oh, she's the same person. It didn't. You guys got to use your own discernment, do your own research.
Can't personally question it, and that's just not something that I would do. And
oh, it's all good. I just was
Nancy Drew on YouTube is who Dallas is referring to. Oh, god damn. Nancy Drew. Got it.
Curious about that because of the way we look at things here, what we see on TV, what you hear, the executive orders, different things that have taken place, including the inaugurations. I mean, it leaves a lot of things to suspect. Seriously, Chuck. I mean, I respect where you're coming from, where you're at, what you deal with day in and day out. Let me ask you this question.
So people always wonder why don't somebody just go on there from the Space Force, from the cabinet that works with the president, that works with this person? Why doesn't someone that works with Chris Miller or Ezra Cohen-Watnick or go on the fucking stream and just set them straight? Well, when they try to, and they go on big-ass streams because they're big-ass fucking names, they just say, oh, he's talking, he can't say it out loud, he's talking in code, he has to say that, blah, blah, blah. And then when someone else who legitimately comes on and says it, they say, oh, he's deep state. I disagree with him. There's a lot of things to be questioned. We don't know if he's even true. I got to see this guy's credentials. Who is this fellow over here? He's white, a black hat operation. Like, that's why people don't go on these fucking streams.
Well, I don't know if you can answer this, but I'll do my best. What's your thoughts on what's going on right now with Russia, Taiwan, and Ukraine? Can you speak of that at all?
Russia, Taiwan, and Ukraine? Are you talking about like
in terms of what's escalating, all the money we're sending over there, the bio weapons labs that were discovered all over the place in Ukraine? And then someone in the chat asked me, do you believe that Hunter Biden's a crackhead? So I'm just throwing everything out. Let the kitchen sink here. What's your thoughts? And the crackhead thing, you don't necessarily have to answer. We really already know the answer to that. But
there are labs in every country. The labs that were discovered in Ukraine were legitimate pharmaceutical labs that are studying pharmaceutical research and how it affects those people there, how it interacts with their ancestry, with their genes. There are pharmaceutical places there that do research, that manufacture. There was no bioweapon labs all over the place.
What's going on with Putin, with Zelensky, in Taiwan and China and all that stuff? What's your thoughts?
This is a Russian talking point.
In Ukraine has been going on for quite a long time. And, the involvement there between the different nations that, are supporting the conflict is trialsome. It's something that, us as uniform wearers are keeping a close eye on because, the expectation is that we will do everything we can in our power to minimize conflict or deter conflict or our involvement in anything to that scale. So it's intense. It's challenging, to say the least. The news is, portraying it the way it is. And that's about the amount of information that most regular Joes like myself get on a day-to-day basis. And unless you're in an operational unit that, is directly affiliated with those ops. So me personally, like it's a little scary to see the conflict ongoing. I relate it back to our time in the Middle East and, with Syria and those ongoing conflicts. Whenever the...
Oh, we got a new Donald clip approved. Here we go. Some Chris. Oh, I hit play on stream, but it says cute. Okay.
Hey, Will, somebody who I know who has a military history says the military wouldn't tell you anything about the sting operation. Who the commander-in-chief really is. It's all top secret.
That's what we were just talking about, Chris. Thank you very much for that. Someone that he knows with the military says, the military can't tell you. They're under an NDA. And they shouted at me. Would you have a soldier with a gun in his mouth writing you a letter about your music? Fuck you. That's what Derek Johnson told me today.
The Arab Spring. I don't even know if that's what it was called still after so many years, but I was deployed during those times. And, even that conflict escalated and we were sending resources and money to help, some of the people that were out there to try and, deter or prevent or whatever. Generally, most of the time, it's in the best interest of, defending the United States. If we can prevent, that type of stuff coming to the continental U.S. by providing resources externally to us, I think that's the best option to do versus waiting for it to come to us and potentially threaten American lives on the homeland. Those types of conflicts, you don't want them coming knocking on your door. You want to keep them where they are. And I think that is that's pretty much where we're at right now is trying to prevent it from getting worse by ensuring that, that conflict doesn't endure for any longer than it needs to. Just from my perspective, anyhow, that's the way I see it. And, hopefully it does end soon. And
Chuck, well, I just want to reiterate our appreciation of your service and your time. And it's been awesome having you on and getting some insight. And man, I just appreciate all you're doing and what you bring to the table, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean,
absolutely.
It's great doing these,
I'm loving this. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm freaking loving it because here's the thing. In your position where you're at right now, and what you're doing and what you're saying, because it's your personal opinion. Everyone is entitled to their personal opinion, just like we are, and I'm very respectful of that. I want to tell you as well. Thank you so much for your almost 18 years of service.
Yes, their aggression, power, suggestion, and emotional bias is serious infection of the highest caliber. They are addicted to thrive over Stockholm syndrome, fueled narrative, and will deny and decode their way. Yeah, it's got to fit their narrative, or it's some type of COINTELPRO or some shit. And they just believe whatever you tell them. It doesn't matter if I tell them, like, Trump's not the president and I have 300 facts, and I say Trump is the president and I have one fact. The one they want to believe most is the one they're going to believe.
For protecting that, and thank you. I'm very, very appreciative.
I think they're pretty respectful once he goes off.
I think just genuinely, I appreciate you guys having me on the platform. Thanks for reaching out. I like to have conversations with different opinions than my own. And, I do my best to share the knowledge that I have with folks to try to, get to a similar understanding. Like I'm learning from you just as you are learning from me.
That pissed me off. I wasn't going to say anything, but that did piss me off, Q idiot. It's not his opinion. It's not everybody has their opinion. He's telling you from a better position than anyone in the fucking chat, anyone on the goddamn panel, anyone anywhere about this. And you're like, well, everybody has their own opinion, I guess.
I think that's the best way to connect to society as a whole. And that's genuinely what my platform is.
20-some years of his life dedicated to it. And you guys just popped up 2 years ago claiming it's all fake.
About the Space Force. I cover topics from veteran suicide awareness, being an ambassador with Mission 22. I cover mental health, and I cover veteran homelessness, all major topics that are very crucial and things that need to be, spoken to or at least supported. And then, of course, I do have...
Yes, they claim to be free thinkers, but they have traded mainstream media for another brainwashing. They claim that, like, you got to use your discernment. You can't listen to mainstream media. But, like, if Phil says it, it's gold. There's no doubt in their mind. Then when it turns out to be a complete lie, oh, it's disinformation. Like it's a joke.
Like a passion for music. My wife's a professional musician. Her name's Alyssa Ruffin, and we do music on the side. It's kind of like a hobby, and I support her. So I go out and might share some posts about like I just shared a guitar player who I'm related to. I just found out on my Facebook page. So, but yeah, that's usually what my platform is. I'm trying to be an ambassador for the Space Force and teach people about what we do, and because there is a lot of I guess just not a lot of awareness of what we do. What our missions include and that type of thing. So, but thank you again for having me on here. I appreciate the time. And yeah, thanks so much.
Hey, God bless you. Take care.
All right, take care. Thanks. Oh,
All right, so
I've
first of
got
all,
some.
before everybody-
moment here, PPM, baby.
before everybody loses their mind, he is an active piece. He's an active member of the military. He can't say jack shit about jack nothing.
There we go. He's got an NDA. He can't say nothing about nothing. Just calm down. He was here just to fill us full of the narrative he's allowed to say.
So, you got to give him a little bit of space there, and maybe he just has different beliefs than us, and he's entitled to that. I give him kudos and props for coming on and stepping up and saying Biden's our president. There's not very many people that would come onto this platform and say that, but he did, and he didn't back down. But I also know for a fact that we have members on this platform that work for Space Force that I have personally sent on day-long scavenger hunts to find a picture of Biden.
No, you didn't. If they work for the fucking Space Force, you did not send them against their command's wishes, running around a base looking for pictures of Biden. You didn't. Then they don't fucking work for Space Force because they have a fucking job to do, bro.
Biden anywhere on campus, anywhere on the base, and there's no pictures. So, it is what it is, but we got to be, the difference between us and them.
Come on, man. Look at this. Come on, man.
I know. I'm not defending.
That's right, Lusky.
Us and them is that we don't go bashing people and punching them in the ear hole because they disagree with us. Yes, he brings something to the table. He's serving our country, and I say we just leave it at that. We probably should have cut it short about 30 minutes earlier, but
Oh, we probably should have cut him off 30 minutes earlier.
I wanted just the fire hose and do.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to answer any of our questions. So to just keep asking him questions, it just pisses our.
He did answer your questions. He can't talk. He can't say is Hunter Biden a crackhead? Are you kidding me? He can't call Kamala Harris cunt or whatever you fucking wanted to call it, Kabbalah.
Our viewers off because he's not going to agree with anything that we say.
It wouldn't matter agreeing. I want to know his opinion. I wanted to know what he really thought. Because the beautiful thing about all this, if there is any good thing out of this, which there is, there's a lot of good things that came out of this. It goes to
this is not going to age well for Chaz.
Regardless, it doesn't know.
Well, but that's the kicker. Is he really asleep? I mean, it kind of sounded that way. Or can he not tell the truth? I mean, is he not allowed?
There you go. Just discredit everything he said because he can't.
I just don't know. I don't know.
The thing is, when you're in the military, especially if you have high level security, your phones and your apps and the things you do electronically are monitored.
I know, and I think we all agree it's not high level security, but I'm also saying that there's some.
Oh yeah, 20-some years in the Space Force, and he's fucking like from the intelligence community. He's got the intelligence community badge he wears. But yeah, we can all agree he's not high security.
He probably can't answer or can't talk to, but I just it's
what material is Bob's mask made out of? That was my next question.
but
we'll find out in the next upcoming remake of V.
I appreciate your service, and
absolutely.
It's
well. Here's someone's service that we don't.
Music career.
Here's someone's service that we don't need to worry about anymore. What are we going to do about the jokes? Beetlejuice. So she concedes defeat because there's a mayoral election going on. So Paul Vallis and Brandon Johnson will compete in a runoff election. So Beetlejuice no more.
In Chicago?
Yep.
Why did they have like a random vote for mayor?
This is what I was getting from WTTW, which is the public broadcasting station out of Chicago. Let's see what they were doing.
By the way, she was so mayor elections can happen fucking anytime. It's set up by the city. It's not just a random mayor's election. But she was the first mayor in 40 years to lose re-election. So for the past 40 years, the mayors have just stepped down. She was the first mayor in 40 years to lose re-election.
Yeah, they were calling for a runoff. So I'm gonna have to look more into this, but she's getting called out because of the crime. the amount of murders, I mean, is just astronomical.
So did they impeach her?
Yeah, she's voted out. So now there's gonna be a runoff between those other.
An April 4th runoff.
So that's for Chicago. It only took them 6 years. Holy hell.
Yeah. Well,
again, so anybody they like that comes on has to play ball, has to listen, has to play the game, has to give out disinformation because they were told to. Anybody they dislike is a black hat, cabal player, asleep, will never wake up, sent here to confuse us, blah, blah, blah. So they don't give any credibility to views that oppose them. He just come on here and opposed every view you had. Well, he couldn't say it if he wanted to. Well, maybe he is just asleep. People in the chat saying he's a black hat operator. He was sent here to mess with our channel. So why even have you can't keep saying we acknowledge other people's opinions. You don't. You can't keep saying you're open-minded. You can't keep saying you're using discernment. You can't keep saying you're looking at all these different responses and using the most logical one. You can't keep saying that.
A lot of that has to do with
that's not what I can say right now. Totally how.
A lot has to do with, dare I say, unions and union bashing.
Hey, did you guys see where what's her name from Arizona has got a boot on, just like the mayor of
broke their ankle or whatever? And Ohio? Yeah, we was talking about that.
But the mayor of the governor.
He just said, "Oh, the girl who broke her ankle in Ohio." No, it's a house arrest boot. Don't say that.
Practically twisted her ankle this week too, like today. I read in some article.
Some article. That's a bonding fucking resource. Some article.
But the first initial was P, and the last initial was G. In his chat, they were all watching our show, and they were saying that he was lying, and it's all covered in, I guess, the 800,000 Telegram group. I'm telling you what,
that Chuck was lying.
I guess that's what they were saying, yeah. And
so all of Phil's group apparently covered this and was live watching this and was talking about he's lying here and he's lying there and this isn't true and that's a mask and he couldn't say and he's a black hat and he knows CBC and all this stupid shit.
That Phil G, I guess,
yeah,
like that I don't know. I thought that was kind of hilarious. So they're sitting there tuning into us as we're doing this. So I thought that's what
I read a stat that said he has the largest Telegram channel. Period. It's one of his.
You didn't read a stat. You read him say that.
Getting the word out, baby.
Yep, 100%. What about
Telegram is a Russian company. How the fuck would Phil have the largest Telegram period? It's a Russian company that was only open to Russians for like 10 fucking years. How did Phil have the largest fucking Telegram channel, period?
Bring this up. In Nashville, we were talking about this pre-show. I think I got the video. But anyway, in Nashville, the water, it looks like it's poisoned, just like Ohio, from what we're seeing.
Perfect.
Please. I'm right down the road from Nashville. And do not, and I repeat, do not drink the water.
That was straight out of the tap. The video that I saw in Tennessee was straight out the kitchen tap.
Let me see if I can put it up real quick, so at least we have something to. Everybody can look at this. So this was, I believe, today.
Everybody could be distracted from having your ass handed to you.
I'm reading poopsicles.
I'm gonna be real with you. You know what? There's nothing wrong. This is healthy, and I don't care what anybody says because it is. Because you got to understand how do you wake up people?
Well, and
what we just did, regardless.
To your point, guys, there are people that, despite the proof,
how the fuck can we put you back to sleep? Is that something we can do?
And despite the pictures and the videos, they believe that he is president and that she is real and that none of this, like they think we are crazy, nutty conspiracy theorists. The problem is that everything we've ever said is being proven right time after time after time. But there are people that still believe that.
Crosses in my backyard or my front yard. You hear what I'm saying? I mean,
So I enjoyed the conversation. I just, once we started going down that path and I knew that every answer was going to be the opposite of what, we were kind of fishing for, then, I probably would have just cut it short. But
it was just fun because
every answer was the opposite of what we wanted him to say, what we were fishing for him to say.
I love this because we get to see it from both sides.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I've got some screenshots I'm going to feature on a different show about Phil and his bots that someone took and sent in. I got to kind of organize them to where they more tell a story than just throwing up a bunch of screenshots. But yeah, he's losing followers and His bots don't seem to engage the way that natural people do.
A lot of our viewers that are commenting left or right are commenting in a holy shitstorm. However, let's talk about Nashville. Don't drink the water. And then
this is crazy, man.
This is crazy. So this is how I found out about this. Is I got a message from my good friend.
Where's the tap?
If you remember him.
Toothless News.
Toothless News.
Oh yeah,
Toothless News. And you never know. Rod Dale might be stopping by here in the near future. He's got a new album out. We're all from the same hood, so we'll check this out. Yeah.
Okay, so this is Nashville, Tennessee, and this is what our water is looking like coming out of being tap water. That's not normal.
Wait, you said it come directly out of the tap. You watched it come out of the tap. Where's the tap?
Don't drink the water.
You said there's literally people in the chat saying, I live in Nashville. That's not my water. I'm in Knoxville. My water doesn't look like that. Are you sure it's not some sort of residue in your pot? Not only does it not look straight from the tap, this pot looks dirty. And that looks like that soap's been sitting in there so long that all the bubbles have gone out of the soap is exactly what that looks like. It was coming out cloudy with even the cold water and looked the same in my dog's bowl and other containers. It's running clear now. Who's to say it's not your system? Who's to say that's not your, you have your plumbing coming to your house. Like this shit is so goddamn stupid. Oh no, I'm in Cleveland. I had the same issue. I bet you did with no proof. I'm in Hermitage, and I have filled a glass up 4 different times today. All looks complete. Hermitage is right outside of Nashville. My water doesn't do this at all. Lamau. I live in Nashville. Our water system is outdated. There's still leather pipes from the 1900s being used. I very seriously doubt that on the supply side. There's no way. I don't even doubt it. That's a lie. Yeah. We watched it come directly from the tap. Where? Because I've got the same video up. There's no fucking tap. Seems like it's sitting in her sink. Or on her stove, maybe? Yeah, it's on her stove. I thought that was depth. That's a glass stovetop. Sat on her stove. Where's the tap? Where's the tap? Where'd it come from? I don't think people understand that people would do anything to become TikTok famous, to get some shares and shit. Look how many views this video's had. It's probably the most views on this bitch's channel. It's either show your pussy or fake something. And some people's got ugly pussies. Some people's got ugly pussies. I don't know what to say. Guys, that's it for me tonight. Check out Chuck Ruffin. He is Space Force captain over on most of the social media platforms. Facebook, it's What's Up Chuck, but you can type in Chuck Ruffin and it'll bring it up. Check out my links. Please go subscribe to our new YouTube channel. I know most of you aren't on there because it's only like 700 subscribers, and we're broadcasting live to like, let me see, to like 400 people. Not to mention all the couple thousand views we'll get on the video. So go check out my YouTube channel. Just go to coldbeer.fun, click on this YouTube link. Go subscribe, please. I'm trying to get that back monetized since this channel does not have a strike currently. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the donations. I love Dono Clip. Thank you. You guys keep it very interesting, very funny with that. The gifted subs, they've been way down, but I appreciate the gifted subs tonight. Thank you. And yeah, I'm going to hop off here tonight and get some sleep. I'll be back to a normal schedule tomorrow. We'll make up a Patreon show. No more doctor's appointments for my dad this week. So we'll talk to y'all then. Thank you for joining us. Fuck it. I'm going to get more aggressive on these people. We'll see what we come up with. Tonight, seeing like the old days and shit, I'm going to try to go back after it. We'll see what we can do. I kind of calmed down because I didn't want to lose my channels, but fuck it. We'll figure something out. See you guys on the next one. I appreciate it. Shout out to Scott Mckay for still being a piece of shit. And trying to flex his military non-experience. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good night, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. We'll see you guys. Yeah, I'm going to to try to play some games during the day. What sucks about the gaming now is like most people don't watch it, and it crushes my average viewer, my average viewership, and my average viewership is how I negotiate to get paid. You know what I mean? Like if I have like 100 on here when I do a regular show, and I have 4 on here when I'm gaming, well, they got to average those numbers. When I talk to sponsors or when I get a sponsor spot or whatever, it sucks. It completely destroys it. But we'll play some more games. We got to do something. I'm at the end of I'm towards the end of Harry Potter. It's not Harry Potter. It's Hogwarts Legacy. I quit playing because I want to show you guys. I'm basically like at the very end where we're competing with the goblins or whatever to get to the place where we're going. You'd know if you've been watching it. But yeah, I finished all the challenges and we're at the very end of that. I don't think that'll be the end of the game. I still think there's more to it, but I wanted to show you all this mission. It's pretty wild. Eileen Mckay.
What you think about when you're born into a fire. Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the way.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Make sure you like, share, and leave a comment if you don't mind. I appreciate it. We'll see everybody tonight. Yeah, it's after midnight, right? Yeah, we'll see everybody tonight.